And recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have approval of minutes. Has everybody read the minutes? Are there any corrections, additions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes. Motion by Commissioner Materi to approve the minutes as read. Is there a second to that motion? Seconded by Commissioner Holmes. Is there any more discussion on the minutes? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes approved. Next will be the approval of the agenda. Any additions, corrections, questions?
The only thing I got is, did you find anything else out of Kevin Evenson?
That's on the agenda here for old and unfinished business.
Okay.
That's already here. So.
Oh, okay. I'll be missing stuff.
If there's nothing to change, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Everly to approve the agenda as written. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Holmes. Is there any more discussion on the agenda? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda approved. First item on old and unfinished business is the county committee member replacing Corporal Ogren. Anybody find a replacement?
I guess I didn't even think, I never had a chance for that.
Search continues. There's some more items on that, I guess.
Can I ask, Marlis, how often do they meet?
They only meet when there's annexation or dissolution. So for example, this year with Bacher dissolving, they're gonna start meeting in October. Probably have 2 or 3 meetings, and they might not meet again until there's another annexation, which would probably, you don't know.
So it's just somebody, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they really don't meet, right?
And they get paid by the state, so much a meeting when they do meet. And if they have to go to Bismarck for, a hearing or whatever, they get paid mileage also. From the state pays it.
Okay.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the public nuisance on 8080 Highway 83 South Linton, also known as the Evenson property.
So I guess last time I had an update that somebody Air was coming to review it and give me a bid. As far as I know they did, but I haven't gotten a bid yet.
Okay.
So Mary Sanger emailed me a couple of weeks ago and said that I should try redemption, I think junk removal out of Bismarck. I think I had actually emailed them before, but I never got a response, so I called them, and it sounds, they told me they're gonna come on Friday to look at it, give a bid, and apparently they run 2 crews, so they always kind of have the ability to pick up another job, so
Okay.
we'll see. And it's not the first time I've been told someone's gonna look at it, but it sounds like they're pretty legitimate, so.
So we're at least moving forward for now.
Yeah, well, I kind of still expect Arrow's bid to come in.
Sure.
So then at least we'd have a couple, which before I couldn't get anybody to come out here, so. As I know they were in Linton, because I talked to the guy because he couldn't find Kevin's place, so I know he was at least here, but they haven't sent me a proposal or anything.
Okay.
Unless they're just not interested after looking at it, I'm not sure.
Well, I guess the only thing is pertaining to the appointment for a county commissioner, we're probably gonna have to have a special meeting sometime after the petition deadline, which is August 11th, and our next September meeting. So if you get some prices or something in the meantime, we could probably put that on the agenda with that, either before or after the interviews, just so we can move on it faster than maybe a month. If we get competitive bids and move on it, I'd say we should move on as fast as we can.
I actually talked to the guy from Redemption on the phone yesterday.
Yep.
And he said that after they see it, he feels like they could probably get it cleaned up within a couple weeks.
Okay.
So, and that's when I said, well, you know, the commissioners meet once a month, so now you're already in September. But I kind of brought up the fact that maybe we could discuss a price or something, and then I could have the go ahead. But since we have another meeting, I think that would be a good idea.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking realistically, we're probably gonna have another meeting within the next 3 weeks, probably, I would think, to conduct those interviews. And if we're having a special meeting, I think that would be worthy to put on the agenda, so.
Absolutely.
If
So
you
if
have numbers put together by then, let's say the 15th to the 20th of August, somewhere in that neighborhood, we're probably gonna have a meeting, I would think, at the latest.
I just forward whatever bids I get straight to Marlis, and hopefully we can
And we'll just put it on the agenda for whenever we hold. it.
actually get this done this year.
Hey, okay. Is that good enough for you guys, or any input, or fair enough? Okay. Next item on old and unfinished business is the request of the Attorney General for the Summit Carbon pipeline. That pertains to what we had talked about before with the House and Senate bills that had to do with foreign interests, maybe investing in this company, and we were going to request basically an inquiry or investigation by the Attorney General. So just Joe and I worked together to just type up a quick little, it doesn't really need to be anything serious for everybody I've talked to, just basically a simple request asking them to look into it. So if you guys like what's on here, then I think we really don't need to vote on it. I think Joe and I would just sign it and scan it and email it up to the Attorney General, because technically at midnight this morning was the law became in effect, so it's August 1st, so might as well send it in right away, have it looked into or find out where it goes, I guess, so.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Anybody got any corrections or issues with the letter or the way it's worded or anything? Okay, if not, I think I'll just sign this copy, Joe. If you want to do that, and then review it tomorrow, so somebody send it up to the Attorney General and complete the process.
I can do that.
All right. Well, with that,
You want a copy at all?
just email it to me or CC me in or something like
There you
that,
go.
that's fine.
Sure.
That has to be authorized, I'm sure.
Well,
I don't think so.
Bill's got nobody in his office, I guess, right? Keisha and them aren't here yet, so oh, there they are, okay. You guys are up.
Oh, great. Everybody,
So, we're coming in August because, as you know, last month, we had our achievement days already, commission meeting, so. Did anybody get a chance to peek downstairs?
I think they were gone when we left.
No, they don't.
They were gone when I left.
I was thinking that.
Well, you might have been here, but there was no other cars left, because I didn't.
But no, the exhibits were downstairs.
Oh, okay, well, I did.
Yeah. So, we had a really good turnout, lots of exhibits. So, everything went well. It was kind of an unseasonably cool week.
Which I wasn't gonna complain about with the livestock and horse show,
So it was pretty nice, actually, but that's not our quarterly narrative. So, this is actually kind of our highlights from April, May, June. So we'll just briefly, talk about them and if you have any questions.
then we can kind of address them. So first thing that we have up is a joint program that we did. I had applied for a Junior Master Gardener grant. And so we were able to take and host a program for some of the youth in the community centered around summer gardening. So we took them from essentially the garden, the soil to the table. So we did everything from starting at the soil, and I taught them about composting, what that is. We were able to connect then the soil to a container planting that we did of spinach. And then Acacia got to connect that spinach to their tables. And we made smoothies.
So, yeah, it was fun. Actually, I received a message from one of the parents yesterday who said her daughter's spinach container blew away. And so she had spinach growing abundantly in the lawn. So,
It just goes to show spinach is a great thing to plant with 2 years.
so we had, it was a busy spring doing all of our 4-H local contests. So we do our communication contest, we do our clothing review contest, and then we do our project expo. Communication Arts has a district contest, so kids that attend that can qualify for the state contest, which was held over the state fair. Same thing with clothing review and Project Expo. After the local contest, those kids can go directly to the state. So we had kids participating, and they did really well locally at the district and at the state. So super proud of those kids.
Yeah. So just a couple of specific things that I did during this time. I had a beef quality assurance training in collaboration and co-hosted it with Logan and Emmons County. And we had some really good participation. Folks that attended basically got to know everything, refresh themselves on proper handling and transporting of livestock, all the way over to euthanasia if necessary. And this training is really important for folks with feedlots that they are required to have this in order to a lot of times market their beef. So we did have some Emmons County participation, so that was awesome. We had a spring garden workshop. I do this every year and it's always very well attended. Talked about some local common issues that I see in the gardens every year, container gardening, and then we got to do a planting at the end as well. I went ahead and this year, instead of attending the state fair as my state obligation for programming, I went to the Extension Youth Conference, which is a leadership opportunity and fun conference for 4-H members that are a little bit older in our 4-H program in the state. So it would be for 4-H members grade 7 through seniors. So that was really fun to get to do that out in Fargo. Then I had my Youth for Quality Care of Animals training. They, 4-Hers need to have this training in order to be able to show livestock at the state fair, which we did have. One family go up to the state fair this year from Emmons County and show livestock, and she did very well. So I was very excited about that. And then of course, Ben Scouting Crops, it was actually pretty decent in that time frame. Minus June was pretty hot, so it was really important that I got out there and did some scouting, and was also going on horticulture and producer calls. So it was a very busy quarter last quarter.
Just one of the things is we did another babysitting class workshop. We get a lot of requests for that. We haven't held one since 2019. We have been scheduled for 2020 and then it happened. So that's a partnership between the hospital, the Emmons County Public Health, and then Michelle at some Country Human Services. So several agencies involved and get this kid ready to go out there and babysit. One of the fun things that I did, I think it was really fun, the youth literacy or financial literacy month in April. And so this year, I did it a few years ago, and I think we're going to try to do this again yearly on just doing youth financial literacy lessons. So I was actually in Mrs. Holmes' kindergarten class. I was at Hazleton and in Strasburg, and then I did go out to Boston, which was my last class that I will do out of Boston. And just talked about youth financial literacy. Then I partnered with the banks to host piggy bank pageant. So the kids in kindergarten got to pitch and decorate their piggy banks and display at the respective banks. So Hazleton and Strasburg, and they picked winners, and the kids got piggies with everybody got. So they let each bank kind of coordinate how they want the prizes. So some special points and saving bonds and stuff like that. So it was pretty fun. I went to Clover Camp, so that's kind of the camp I chair every year at 4-H camp. Always fun. This year I did have 3 4-Hers from Emmons County, so that was fun to have some locals there. I spent a good portion of the spring working on a leadership civic engagement. I'm part of the program committee. I'm a co-chair for that. So we had our training and it was lots of fun and getting together. So yeah, these are just some more highlights, certainly not everything what we've done the last quarter, some of the meetings, trainings, things and all of that. But if you guys have specific questions, I guess I'm mostly interested in answering.
So you guys have been pretty busy. Fair season makes it pretty busy, I'm sure, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. On the back too, you'll see we have a few of our upcoming events. Obviously, we just had our achievement days. Actually, this evening, we will have the Tri-County Plot Tour, and that is located, the plot site is located 7 miles west of Wishick. So we'll have supper tonight, and then we'll go ahead and go through the plot and see everything that's growing there. There's a few new things. We're going to talk about sunflowers, interseeding, and some different options there. I know Dawn came last year, so if it works for your schedules, I would encourage you to come out and see all the work that's being done out there. Supper's at 6:30 and the tour starts at 7. And then, yeah, we have a few other upcoming programs too, but I just wanted to let the Tri-County Plot Tour since it's this evening.
Now, we'll should get to your other business.
Anybody got any questions for the Indians together?
No, I was just gonna say thank you for everything you do. You guys, I think the kids really enjoy that stuff you guys do. I think you do an excellent job.
We just unpacked all the projects yesterday that came home from State Fair, but I'm super proud of our kids. We sent 70 projects to the State Fair. So we had a huge representation at the State Fair, and our kids did very well. On the purples, which is grand champion, reserve champion, and then awards of excellence. So not only do we send a lot of projects, but we send did really well. So we're super proud of those kids. We have a lot of talent in Emmons County.
Yeah, the kids that we have out there for the various contests and livestock, they will do very well.
Yeah, our communication arts contest, every kid from Emmons County that participated received an award of excellence. So that's the highest you get. So it was wonderful. So be proud as commissioners.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys.
You do an excellent job.
All right, so I'm gonna say it's wrong.
Okay, Brett,
Next,
the floor is yours.
okay, I should have the copies, that's Jeff's last quarterly. Here real quick, I have right here in hindsight, I thought there were more copies, that's my fault there.
All you knew will forgive you.
Okay, what's in this folder here is, it's a basic briefing of, it's a program called Vetrospect, and the other one is called Improvise. They kind of go hand in hand. The Vetrospect is basically an online program that basically anything paper-wise is going to get digitized and it'll be sent, transferred. Everything I can do would be done through this program. The kicker to this program costs $449 a year. It's secured access, so if we were to approve to do this, I would have to go to Fargo, get training, I'd have to get an ID card, it would be, card reader only, so it would be something that anyone could go online and access. It'd only be through this card reader. Again, that's in this folder to write up the forms. And then along with that is basically some emails, and kind of the second part of it. This Improvise is the Department of Veterans Affairs is trying to digitize all veterans paperwork. And what that would encompass is, again, if we would go forward with this as a county, they would come in, inventory all my veterans records, take them, scan them, put them online, and they would only be accessed through this program. And then that eventually would get returned, and the concept is kind of a paperless process. So again, that's kind of my emails and information from them.
Is that something you think would be a benefit to the county, or is that something?
I actually think it would. Now, I'll be the first to tell you I'm not a tech savvy master, I'm pretty good, but I kind of look at it as it's going forward in that direction, whether we want it to or not. The grants are all going digital now. In my opinion, it's all, I know there's 3 counties that have. Never had a chance to talk with them, see how it's working. I did have to talk to Carolyn Benz from Kildare, and she couldn't stop talking about it. Matter of fact, we talked about an hour on the phone just over that, and how great it is. The benefits, again, they would cut down the processing and transmission time for any grants, compensations or pensions requests. What I would do is it'd be all automated. It would go to the state. They would approve it, and then from there, I can't speak beyond. I did federal stuff for 24 and a half years.
So this is like a federal government program?
Yeah.
This-
I think it's more state specific, but every state's pretty much got a similar version of this program. And then, like that improvised, a lot of that's just emails on what to expect when they come in, what they would like to do, what counties have it already, just kind of a roster of, it's myself and the clerk, reporters, I believe. The only thing is, I'm not sure who would approve that. I don't know if that's something I could just say. I don't know if it's gotta come through.
Well, is there like an enrollment period, or can you start it at any time?
We could, it's just a matter of, if we approve it, it's just a matter of me coordinating the dates
Then
and
you
times.
just start up and just You said it was 400 something a year?
Yes, to get that, it's $449, and it does say kind of in the bottom of one of them forms to the left there, it's $449 annually,
And that's county pays for that or the federal government?
county. And then again, like I said, I would have to, before we could move forward, I would have to get a background check. Once I get approval, they would give me a scanning card. I'd have to get the card reader. That would all have to get hooked up to the computer and then,
Is that something would you be wanting to do that or not?
I would love to do it.
You would love, because
Because, again, talking with this Carolyn Benz from Kildare, she couldn't stop talking about how great this is. I think it's would just improve everything for any veteran that would come into the office and there's.
so that would be our only fee then, at 400 a year?
Now, I couldn't find anything if the scanner, the card reader, but that would just be a one-time purchase. Yeah, it would be the 440, and as far as I know right now, everything I read, it's just the $449 annually.
Well, it's kind of interesting because it's through Tyler Technologies, and that's what we're looking at possibly transitioning over for the auditor's office and some software there too, so. At least streamline the process a
Yes.
little bit, since we're gonna be running it in another office month possibly too, so. Okay.
Yeah, the one in the yellow there is the improvised, that would be the group that's gonna come in, sign for all the records, scan them, and then we would get those back. And then it would all be through that.
You get all the paper records back.
Yes,
And all that digitizing and everything is a part of the $450 a year cost, or is there gonna be an extra?
I think
cost?
that's different.
That's a separate deal.
Yeah, there's no charge to that. And that would actually all go in there, and the benefit would be if a veteran, one of the benefits would be if a veteran from Pickett County outside of Emmons moved here, I could instantly access
All the
all his
records.
data, whereas if you, let's say, I'll just use the next county, Logan County, if he's got a file in Logan County and it's all on paper, I would have to get that, get approval, then the chain of custody would have to get switched to me or copies or however that wanted to work.
Yeah, $450 a year, something like that's probably in their budget for,
If it's not in his, I have some in
And
technology.
I actually kind of requested all that for my budget.
Sure. I mean, even for this year, I mean, we usually have, I mean, there's usually money in there for technology and things, I mean, so as part of budget wise too.
That's what I was saying, that you could just take out of it.
Right, or, I mean, if it's a few $100s, I'm sure, like Marcy said, she's probably got some general fund technology dollars or
Well, then,
something, so.
was there something in that budget yet for anything?
Well, I mean, he does have a remainder budget here, you know, whether, how much of that was technology or not, but I mean, like I said, almost every budget's usually got a little bit of money in there or something, so it's.
That's what I mean, if there was any excess money in there.
I guess, I mean, if you think it's something that's gonna be a benefit to the VA office, I mean,
I think it would be huge.
I think part of the path going forward was hopefully to start updating and to get a little more technological with it. That was one conversation we've had with several veterans, was that the office needed some updating. So if you're the guy that wants to bring it forward, I guess I don't wanna get in your way, so it seems like a reasonable enough annual fee. It's not like it's $5,000 or something, so. I guess, has anybody got any issues or concerns?
That'd be good,
I guess, I would say go ahead with it, Brad.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
all right.
And if you get into it, you don't like it, you can back out too, I guess.
Well, I'll figure it out. It's something, like I said, this isn't gonna go away at some
Yeah.
point. It's,
Well, yeah,
it's
I
not
mean,
gonna be
everything
an
going
option.
electronic is the way, I mean, that's not even the way of the future, it's the way of the present, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yes.
So I think it makes sense for the office, so.
The last thing, and this is kind of a dilemma, I discussed it with Marcy, is, if you guys don't know, I'm active with the American Legion. I was asked to be a national call-in. What that means is, I'll be involved in the program I would be involved in, if I'm allowed to go, or how we get this figured out, is I'm with the Military Benefits and Quality of Life for the American Legion. What that entails is flying for our convention in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's the 25th through the 1st of, no, 25th to the 31st of August. Don't think I'll have leave hours set up for that. And again, if there's no way I can make this happen, I can live with it. I'm just wondering, I'm throwing out working the extra hours around that, going in the whole vacation wise. I guess I'm here to either ask for input or figure something else out.
So, Mr. Chairman, what we had a conversation is, first of all, the expenses for this trip is gonna be paid by yourself.
Yes, yeah.
The only thing that he's questioning is not having the vacation time. So, does he take it without pay, or does he go in the red with his vacation? And I had mentioned to him that you guys might consider Legion as part of VA. He wouldn't have to use any vacation. And then he also talked maybe of making up his hours, like working an extra couple days or something. You know, so it's up to you guys what you want to do.
And by no means, if it's something you guys gotta discuss, I'm fine.
Well, I guess my opinion on it is it's kind of similar to like extension, you know, 4-H was always kind of something separate, and extension kind of ended up taking it over just because that's what needed to be done. And kind of with your VA officer services, I mean, you being part of the American Legion and the VFW or whatever other affiliations you're with, in my opinion, is pretty much the same job. If you're going to a convention where you're gonna, you know, meet similar people in similar positions and learn things that could even improve your ability to help the veterans in our county, I don't really see it as much different than a job-based training, I guess, in my mind. I mean, I understand it's separate because it's a part of a different affiliation, but I mean, it's still veterans-based. It's not like you're, you know, just going on a vacation or picking a random thing. I guess in my opinion, I don't really see an issue with it. I feel like it's almost similar to a training type thing. I mean, you're the veterans officer going to a veteran-based conference, convention type thing, I guess that's my opinion on it. And if you're paying for the expenses out of your own pocket and everything on that part, I think as far as the work side of it, I wouldn't take any issue. And if you don't take a vacation for it, something like that,
Yeah.
I guess I don't have a problem with it, so.
Other than that, that's all I have, so if there's any questions for me?
The only thing is, when they take those records and digitize them, is there some kind of security thing they?
Yes, they all have to be signed for, and there is a sealing process when they take them, put them in their containers, it's sealed. There's a chain of custody paperwork, and then when they get it all scanned and digitized, then it reverse process back to me.
Yeah, it's just, if somebody takes them, who knows what they're,
Right.
Because I've actually kind of started going through all the files. I currently have about 2 full file cabinets full of records, so, and that's not even including what,
It's down in the dungeon.
yeah, or in the office. And up here, I believe it's just DD 214. I haven't even thought about what's in the basement.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got 2 full filing cabinets in the office right now. So I have started just documenting names and folders, and just so I at least know what I'm getting, because
How often are you gonna be working here? I mean, how many days or hours you're working during the week or what?
right now I'm currently working a full day Monday, Tuesday, and then a half day Wednesday.
Somehow we should get that out to the public or something.
Well, there was a hiccup, was we had done an article which should have been out a month ago, 5 weeks ago, and it, for some reason, didn't. I actually spoke with the gal that did the interview yesterday, and she's in the process of getting that in. So I basically said, well, if you don't get the article, can I at least get something in with my hours? So, but she said she was gonna follow through with the article, and I did make sure when we did that to have my current working hours, so.
Go on the county website too?
Brett, what do you all need as far as pictures and dates and where they served, and that's all you need, correct? On veterans, for where you're scanning these photos of these guys in the courthouse?
No, this is all the documents, anything.
Right, everything and all, but to get their name on the scanning to show that photo here in the courthouse.
Oh, you're talking about the wall of honor?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's.
Do you take care of that or not?
I work with them enough to where I can get that. That's kind of completely separate.
Okay. Who do you get the photos to on that wall?
What,
I don't know, because we contacted the wall of honor and we were gonna do that, like back in like September, and they said they were gonna contact us, and then, I don't know, they had that funding hiccup and it was on the news, and I haven't heard from the wall of honor since then, so.
I can check into that, and someone mentioned the website. I actually did look at that before I left last night, and I do have to get that changed.
Okay.
It's still showing.
I mean, because that's another spot where, I mean, a lot of people
Yes.
probably check things out too, so. I guess I just got one question, how you fitting in, how's it going?
After a week's training, a couple weeks ago training, it feels overwhelming, but I'm finding my niche. Lots of training still going through. I think I've got about 10 more online courses I gotta do, so I'm definitely not busy.
Okay, well, glad to have you aboard. And, I guess if you ever need anything, stop into a meeting or whatever, so.
Will do, and thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. All right. We got the Lytton Municipal Airport, funding for airport operations and projects.
Good morning, Commission. For the record, I'm Randall Mightinger, Linton, North Dakota, a member of the City Council in Linton and Airport Board member. With me is our Mayor Dan Emdike and Board member Roger Martin. We were here last month to explain some things on the airport, and we are now, for the summer of 2024, we're going to have a project that the engineer figures is going to be 2.05 million. It's a 90% funded program, so it's 1.84 million. It comes from FAA in different forms. The state will throw in 100,000. Essentially, we have 100 to 125,000 of the local share, and we're going to be short on that. And the project, it's redoing the apron, which is the part for the fuel tanks and where the people you drive in to the parking, then widening the road and paving the road. Making it more accessible for emergency things like that. The airport is part of every piece in the county's emergency plan, from the sheriff to the ambulance to every city. The Linton Airport's mentioned, it's because we're a federal airport, so it's very important for the county. If we do not do this project, we will lose, we get an entitlement from FAA that is $150,000 a year, and we can bank $600,000. We've banked that. So now if we don't do this project in 2024, we will lose the $150,000 and get a new $150,000. That $150,000 will never be back. We lose that. So it's very important we get this project done this summer. It benefits the entire county. I don't think I have to explain to you that. And then it's a huge part of agriculture. We will bid. What we're asking is you could budget between $75,000 and $100,000 as a one-time lump payment. We're going to bid the project in January-ish. Bids will be opened in March-ish. That, you know how that goes. And we'll see once what they come in. Maybe they're lower, maybe they're higher. That's what we, and then we will be asking you for a one lump sum. And as far as an opinion of where some of the funds can come from, ARPA and Prairie Dog were both based on assets, economy, and population. And the city of Linton is a third of the population, and if you can take some of the Prairie Dog money, you can't spend it on airport, but the road widening, the road and paving is road, that's it qualifies. And so we're asking that you help the city with some of that to keep our airport to where, and the status where it's at. With that, or anything else I forgot, there's things we need to do at the airport, the security system, fuel system updates, maintenance on buildings, we're working on that as funds are available. I'm available for any questions. If you want to ask the mayor any questions, Roger, questions, thanks for that.
So basically, you said it's just a one-time fee.
Well, here, in the future of the airport, there's a 10, you got a copy last month, there's a 10 very thought out plan, I think in 2026 or 7. It's as simple as replacing the snow removal equipment. So that isn't, there you just get bids for it, it's really simple. And we don't know if we're going to be short at that point. 25,000, 50,000 or not, we don't know. We just know on this project here, and the urgency is that we did not do the project last summer. We did it because it come in 400,000 over. I think it was 19% over, which happened on many projects. It happened in a lot of cities, counties, state came in high. And then once we were told at the FAA that we shouldn't even do it this postpone a year and accumulate a few more assets to do it. So that's what we did. But in 2024, we either have to do the project or we start losing some funding. So that's what we're asking now, is that we budget that, and then we will basically need some of that funding to do the project, or the project isn't going to happen. And we'll know more exact what we're going to need between 75 and 100,000, and we'll show you the exact numbers. We'll show you the bid, show you everything we need. So,
Marvelous. So if we would agree to 75, what would we get it budgeted, or what would we do?
We could budget it with a couple mills on the general fund. Or like we said, that's really the only place we could.
What about that program that you sent out this past month on money that may be available for certain projects here, Tank?
That's through the DOT project, that's for road projects only. Maybe something could be
For this year?
done there.
this is a road. Yes, it
It's
is.
a road deal.
It's widening and paving the road, and that is for emergency access vehicles in all kinds of weather. That's why for emergency vehicles. So where emergency is using the airport more and more all the time. So agriculture, and agriculture uses it. The emergency vehicle.
I know some of this funding is for township roads. You have to apply for a grit, and John knows, all about that, so I don't know if this would qualify or not, like, you check into it.
You might ask, well, what are we paid, annually? We pull new mills out for the airport.
City of Linton already pays the 4 mills.
That's what I know.
Yeah. The city of Linton already, we tax ourselves and that's it. I believe that.
And you guys could generate a couple of mills too.
The other option you could do is, you guys could make a decision to charge 2 mills, and that would give us the 75 to 100,000. You could do that, or you could find prairie dog, one which or that qualifies. There's ways to do it. There's several ways for you guys to do it.
Is that airport road on section line or something like that?
The east-west part is on a section line.
Right.
Yes.
Is the county blade then? Or does that maintained by the airport? Yeah. Okay.
When you guys,
Well, because I guess that's where, I mean,
I didn't even.
yeah. I could see the benefits of widening and paving it, especially when it comes to the county and something like that. So I mean, I guess when it comes to the mills and having kind of almost like permanent tax, I still believe that's probably something that should be voted on. With that being said, I know we do have some prairie dog and purple funding and for a one-time deal for improvement on a major project that, especially if it improves the road, at least that piece. I think paving the road to the airport is a pretty wide. So, I mean, I don't really see an issue with a one-time project I feel. I think there's enough county use and justification. I mean, you gotta maintain your infrastructure, things there, so we have to move it. So I think partnering on one-time projects is a little bit different than having a life mill, because you know what happens when you create a mill, it won't go away. And I don't have a problem with that either. I think that's just probably not our position to just create. But that being said, I think with our budget today, I think we should probably look into, or I think participating on a one-time deal like this, and especially if you want to even separate it a little further and say that we're paving and widening the road in there. I mean, it's kind of part of our overall road plan is to try and improve some of these roads, and I think improving the entrance to the airport's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we're definitely gonna talk about it later, only we need to make the discussion now, we're talking during the preliminary budget, but I think that request, which you're coming forward, at least looking to get a project done, or at least, like you said, get it bid out so it's complete maybe by next summer. I think participating in road, improving the road and making them more accessible. I have no issue personally with that, I guess, it's a little bit different than asking for a yearly mill. That just, in my opinion, like you stated before, I feel like people should have an opinion on that, but as far as doing a big project, as I understand it, I guess I would be in favor of at least considering, you know, like I said, I mean, the prairie dog money, that's state funds that came, that's everybody's money, it's not really county funds, it's allocated to us, but I think it's a worthy cause to use some of it. And some of the other big projects we were gonna use prairie dog for anyway, and if we're 100,000 short, in budgets and that, obviously, I don't feel like we're gonna triple a project by appropriating some of that one, prairie dog, or something like this. Or if you can't appropriate it because of the earmarkings, you appropriate some of your other funding, you use the prairie dog or that or something. It's rock and Peter to pay Paul, essentially, they're in 75 or 100,000 and it's for one-time projects. Say we'll look into it, talk about it this afternoon.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Who's on that?
No, and I think even, the thing is, if that project's looking at getting done next year, I think that if we just have something in the budget, there's no guarantee we have to use it. If they don't do the project, or we don't like the way it's going, I don't think they have to really truly participate, but I think we should consider budgeting for it if it's a project that makes sense for us.
Right. I'm kind of against it, but whatever.
It's fine, that's why we'll discuss it, and it'll be a part of the process, and what I would assume, let's just say we do budget that money and it comes into 2024, when that proposal comes to us, we're probably gonna have to vote to release those funds, and then we can decide if we're gonna move forward. I don't think budgeting for it is a bad idea.
No,
If it's folded into some kind of road project or road fund anyway, it's not like it's gonna go to waste, we'll just use it on something else, so I don't think we're.
actually benefit the county because there's a lot of farmers that actually use it and everything else, but, you know, it's just not for the city of Linton, it's for the whole county.
Well, I just think the conversation we had too with improving roads, if there's another quarter, half mile stretch going into the airport that we don't have to maintain with gravel, I think, you know, it's not like it's totally separate of everything we're trying to do either, so.
Yeah, but it's a private business. It's not really a county business.
Farmers and everything, I mean,
Well, people use the cafe down in Linton too. I mean, you say the same thing. Farmers need the cafe, they wanna go eat or whoever, but I mean, then we should support them too. My opinion, I guess, I don't know.
Well, we can talk about it later during the budget talks, and keep moving with the agenda here, so, next is Tyler Technologies License and Service Agreement.
Okay, Emmons County has had a software agreement with support with Dakota Programs, Government Soft, for years and years. And the fee was only like $13,000 a year. Well, it's being operated by two individuals that are retiring at the end of 2024. So we'll need to find a new software program with the support. And I'm looking into going with Tyler Technologies for the simple reason that there's a lot of other counties in the state of North Dakota that are already with them. In every other county, there's like 13 counties that are with GovernSoft right now. They're gonna be in the same boat that we are, that are signing up with Tyler Technologies also. They're way more advanced than any other company that I know of. And I'd like to go on board with them. Of course, the fees are gonna be a lot more. It's like $180,000 just to turn everything over. And what we use this program, this software for, is all of our taxes are, we use TaxWise on there for our property taxes. We use it for all of our accounting, we use it for payroll. The tax director uses it, the treasurer's office, the auditor's office, and Josh uses it with GIS also.
So it's kind of one of the main softwares we use.
Yeah, and so a lot of the other counties, I think eventually every county is gonna be with Tyler Technologies in the near future. And when I mean that they're more advanced, is what I'm saying is, like last year the legislators proposed a bill where they wanted a graph on everybody's tax statement that shows where their tax dollars are going to. Well, I now do a graph in Excel that I include in with the tax statements, but that's a whole county-wide, like, certain percent of the taxes goes to the general fund, so much to the roads, so much to the schools and fires. This would be, every property tax statement would have a graph of that certain parcel where the money is going to. And of course, the Auditors Association appeared at the legislative hearings and asked them to vote it down because we didn't have the software to do this. Tyler Technologies already has a software there where they can, as soon as the legislators pass that bill, they're on board, they can get it done. So there isn't any other company out there except for Software Innovations, but I think they're going to be in the same boat as Dakota Programs, where eventually they're going to retire out too, and then we're going to be in the same boat in the next 5 years. So
Are they quite a bit higher?
Pardon me?
Price-wise, are they quite a bit higher now?
Oh yeah, well, it's going to cost $180,000 just to switch over, and they're going to work with Dakota Programs and switching everything over, and it's up to me. I can go 10 years or 15 years worth of records, like tax records and accounting records and payroll records, but they're going to work in 2024 and doing us in like 12 or 13 other counties to get us all over by the end of 2024.
Geez, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and then after that, the fee is like $22,000 or $23,000 a year. After that, it's just a one-time of the $180,000. So
What was Dakota program? Okay.
about $13,000 a year.
And now it's
So it's like another $10,000 higher.
But
It was a two-person operation,
Right.
you know.
How big operation is this? I mean, how long are
Pretty
they?
big,
Are they
pretty
gonna
big.
be?
The recorder's office uses it right now with their Document Pro, where people can submit their warranty deeds, and then it goes down to the auditor's office, and we have to approve for them as a tax. They're paid, we sign off on it, and it goes back up to Kathleen. And so Tyler Technologies is already involved in some of Emmons County's doing something like in that office. So, and every time I've contacted them, we had an issue with DocuPro, they're right there to help us.
So they're gonna supposedly be around for a while?
I think so, I hope so. And I've talked to a lot of county auditors at the auditors conference I was at last month, and the ones that have Tyler, they're they're really satisfied with them. The support is there when they need it, and
Well, it looks like Brad's office is gonna be running a Tyler Technologies product too, so.
yeah. So what I
They
did.
have to, but at least they're, I mean, where did you work?
So what I did is the U.S. Department of Treasury had some funding through, it's called the LATCF, which is Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund. It's part of the American Rescue Plan, just like the ARPA funding was. So I went and applied for some funding and I got it. I got $83,000 this spring. And then the second half of the funding is gonna be coming in January. So I got most of this paid for through that fund. I'll be a little bit short. That you'll notice in the budget when I go through it today, I put the rest of it into state revenue, which we get some state aid distribution from the state. So there's, like I said, $164,000 I've got coming already, which is non-tax money. It's money through the U.S. Treasury.
It's taxed, it's just taxed through a different.
Well, yeah, it's through the American Rescue Plan. So, like I said, I was able to get $164,000 there to help pay for
So
this.
that's a help.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, so then you're basically transitioning over for 20 to 30,000 probably by the
Right.
time you're all done, because I'm sure it won't be perfect, but yeah, that's.
and then for 2024, I'm gonna be paying to go to programs. They're $13,000 and the other 22.
So till you transition over. for
Yeah.
this. Well, it's a lot more palatable with the grant fund, though, I guess, so.
Yeah, so, I included this money in, the LATCF money in the county budget. Because, you know, you have to appropriate the funds that you're receiving. And so, all I need from you guys is the blessing and for the chairman to sign the contract that we can go ahead with this. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna do. We need the software.
Like you said, there is hardly anybody else that'll do that.
Well, it's just a code outfit, but she says they'll probably retire in the next couple.
Well,
Yeah.
that's who we have, is the.
We have Dakota programs now. There is a
Right.
company, Software Innovations, but like I said, they're not as advanced as Tyler Technologies is, and there's more things we can do with them, and like certain reports and stuff. And I found with our new auditing firm that we have auditing our 21 and 22 records that documents that they asked for, I pulled them off of our software we have now in our general ledger, and it was all in PDF, and I uploaded to them in a shapefile, and they responded back right away, like, you don't have this in Excel, this and that, you know. And then I asked them, I said, so if we would sign up with Tyler Technologies, would this be better for you guys? They said yes.
So is that what the state uses then too?
Tyler?
Yeah.
I don't know who they use.
Well, like the North Dakota courts, like if you do public record search, that's a Tyler Technology website.
Oh, it is, okay.
And I want to be where a lot of the other counties are going with too, because, you know, if I ever have a situation where I have a question or this and that, you can reach out to other counties for their support, and likewise, they can reach out to us too.
Well, I mean, like I said, the hardest part was the transition costs, and if you have most of that paid
Yeah,
for a
I
grant,
do.
then that's, I mean, I guess I don't see an issue with it, as they get it done, I guess. Anybody else have any issue with it? No. Not a lot of options when it comes to software companies.
Nothing else to really choose from.
Right, so,
It
okay.
isn't a big cost.
So you want to do a motion?
Yeah, motion.
Well, I mean, if that's what you want, because I mean, like I said, you're expending funds, it's fine to me, so I guess I would entertain a motion to,
Enter into agreement.
enter into agreement with Tyler Technologies for, license and servicing for the courthouse software.
The only thing will be an extra 10,000 a year just for,
Right, I mean, that's additional on top of ours.
Do you think there'll be grant money in the future on that too? We don't know that.
Probably not.
This is a one-time deal with the transition.
It's through the American Rescue Plan. The U.S. Treasury had so much money in it.
But I mean, I know, talking to you before, it's kind of the same situation as like with our auditors, right? We were kind of with a smaller mom and pop shop type deal, and now that they're done, now we're not getting the discount firm, we're jumping in with everybody else.
Right.
What most people have been probably paying for years, we're finally
We used to pay,
We had some of the cheaper guys, and we were getting by for a long time, and now
we
they
paid
decided.
them 12,000 a year, and now
Right.
we're up to 30,000.
Right, I mean, the auditors thing was almost triple, and it was just
Right.
because we were with a cheaper firm, they were doing smaller projects, and when they decided to be done, there was no more smaller, cheaper guys, it was just.
And I
big
reached out
companies.
to anybody I could for the auditing. I reached out to Ivy Bailey, I reached out to the state auditor's office.
And I don't wanna do it, huh?
Well, the state auditor's office has 40 people on their waiting list, 40
Right.
companies on the waiting list. Ivy Bailey was more expensive. We've just been lucky for all these years
Right.
that we got by cheap.
Well, and Dakota Programs was a similar deal, it was a smaller place, we got by
Right,
for
it
a
was
long
a
time.
two-people operation.
Now that they're done, now we have to go in with their competition, and they are always a little more, so I guess there's not a lot of options, so. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to, I guess, approve or deny the,
I'll make a motion to agree to the service agreement with Tyler Technology.
Commissioner Holm makes a motion to enter into a license and service agreement with Tyler Technologies for courthouse software. Is there a second to that motion? You can't whisper it, that doesn't
You
count.
can't whisper.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Everly. Is there any more discussion on the subject? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank
Agreement
you,
approved.
commissioners.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, Sheriff Sanders for project manager discussions for the ARPA project.
Good morning. So one of the things I wanted to bring up on behalf of the working group for ARPA, that funding is the project manager position there. I think going forward, board's probably in a position we're gonna have to make a decision on who to go with. We had one proposal from Comstock Construction. Jason Flack was here last month, and so forth. I did have some other companies that were interested, probably 3 others, and nobody else followed through with a proposal or on-site visit. Jason did do an on-site visit here, did a walkthrough with myself and Craig Kitson with the courthouse, the interior and exterior, so he had a good idea. He presented his proposal, and I think you guys all have copies of that proposal. So basically, just going forward, I think Jason's been reaching out to me a couple of times, wondering what the status is. I told him possibly today, a decision might be made. That's up to the board here on what you want to do there. Page 7 of that document, have you guys got that yet?
I don't have it.
Comstock, he talked about their fees and stuff. You know, Comstock is an established contractor out of the Wapaton area.
They worked
for decades.
They worked in other courthouses too, right?
Yeah, they've had other projects. They worked on, I think, the Heritage Center in Bismarck State Capitol, statewide, probably at least the tri-state area for sure. Page 7 of the proposed cost is $120 an hour for pre-construction services. There's a 6% construction cost fee for construction services. And then there's a 7% of the construction cost for any typical design fees. That last sentence says Comstock Construction is open to further discussing our rates and fees. So it sounds like they may be willing to negotiate those numbers a little bit, possibly with the board. But I think everybody's kind of in an agreement. We need to get going on this because we're into August already and get this lined up and get going, and hopefully they can start doing some stuff here this winter and get things buttoned up by next summer anyway. So like Jason indicated too, they like to stay with local contractors. So this is just the project manager. They're going to oversee the project itself, but Comstock also provides a lot of those services in-house with themselves. Some of them, not all of them. They don't do the HVAC system. They do some concrete work. They might look at a local contractor for those services. And like Jason indicated, they will work with you guys, the board. He'll give monthly updates and stuff like that. He'll oversee the project.
So they'll find the contractors, the local contractors?
Whether they're local or state, yeah, they'll everything, that's what their project manager will do. He will take the reins and go with this thing. running everything through the county before the triggers are pulled. He'll give monthly updates, he'll oversee the project and so forth. One of the biggest issues too is working with the State Historical Society with the courthouse. There's do's and don'ts when it comes to that, and you gotta kinda walk your way through that. Again, they have experience with that too, so. And Craig can give you some more insight. He visited with Craig had taken him around the courthouse on the exterior of what we wanted to do and so forth, so. I did get, just last week, Roy Construction, Chris Roy, does concrete work. He did drop off 2 proposals for 2 of the projects. One is the storage building back here, the concrete floor, 32 by 40. And the other project that he bid was for the handicap ramp by social services. I don't know if you want to put this on hold and wait till we have a project manager on board.
Cause that was that was gonna be ARPA funding and kind of.
Right, yep.
I guess I feel like in that case, you should probably tie it in with construction manager, so you don't have separate projects going that.
Yep.
They're trying to manage this, and all of a sudden, if they're gonna do something to the front door, they're not working with the concrete guy. I think
it'd be
having
good.
Chris bid it and everything is awesome, and I think that should still be a part of it, but it should probably just, we're gonna go and have them do a bunch of work at the courthouse, we should just have them oversee.
No, we don't have to worry.
Right, you just don't have any crossover,
So
miscommunication.
what's on the table, just for clarification, it's not for the individual contractors. This is the project manager who will oversee it, and then their job is to seek out the contractor to do the work, oversee the work, make sure the I's are dotted, T's are crossed with the state side, the federal funding and all that stuff, and working with any local contractors for these various projects, where they can, so.
Well, I feel like Comstock's a reputable company. I think we're pretty fortunate to have someone even interested in that. Of this caliber, not just somebody who doesn't have the experience.
Yeah, I was a little bit, the calls I got would be advertised statewide. I thought for sure we would have more actual proposals just from conversations that nobody thought, nobody else followed. We asked a few questions, we're looking for.
You're gonna run into one problem with municipal work. Everybody got the same funding.
Right, exactly.
Everybody got ARPA, everybody got Prairie Dog. A lot of them are probably sticking it into their courthouses and stuff. A lot of those, they probably got 2-3 courthouses already, something like that, and they're probably within 100 miles, and instead of 250, so half the state's probably not even interested, because they already have similar work in another county or state building or something. It's the only trouble when they do major funding of any kind is that everybody gets it, so now everybody's looking at contractors. So,
Exactly.
I feel like this project needs to go forward, we have the funding. Nobody around here either can or wants to be the project manager, they're either outside their purview or just flat out don't have the time. And I think if we're gonna do it, we better make sure it's done right, so I guess I should just go with Comstock and move forward. You put it out there, they're the only ones interested, they're calling, they obviously are interested and wanna do the project.
Okay.
So I would say I'd entertain a motion. Commissioners to enter into, agreement with Comstock Construction to be the, project manager for the courthouse renovations.
I'll entertain the consent to Comstock on board as the channel.
Okay.
I think the project will.
Commissioner Materi makes a motion that Comstock Construction be the project manager for the courthouse renovations. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Everly. Is there any more discussion on the project manager agreement for the courthouse renovations? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay, thank you. I'll let Jason Flack know then today what this was. And my guess is he'll probably be in touch with the board here, maybe at the next meeting. It's possible.
So what are you gonna start on first?
We're gonna leave that up there. Oh, I'm guessing maybe.
Well, the first thing they're gonna have to do is come up with some kind of pre-construction plan.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna start with demolition of some kind, and they're probably, it's reasonable to start with, so there's gonna be a variety of options.
And that's my hope is that Comstock with some of their in-house labor, especially on the demolition side, we come in with a half a dozen guys and really knock it out as quick as possible. My guess is they're.
Well, and I think the other thing is if you already have a local bid on a project, that means they're willing to do the work. So if we get a manager and that's a project we're doing, we can start getting on some other projects too, if that's how they're, if they want to accept that bid or. Right. None of us are capable really, this, we either don't have the time or the experience, might as well just let someone else do it and make sure it's done right.
Like, there'll be monthly meetings.
Yeah.
You got updates.
Asbestos, is there any asbestos in there?
Well, that's something they'll have to do inspection, but my guess is they're probably gonna some, if they can mitigate that or find a way of not removing it, at least possibly. But that's something they'll have to look at, just because of the age, I'm sure either a tile or some of the insulation issues.
Questions like that is exactly what you go, that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is a good move, so, okay,
Okay,
and you're gonna carry that out or contacting them again?
yes, I'll get it.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you. Court services contract between Emmons County and the city of Kingston. Something that has something to do with the municipal judge?
Yeah, so the municipal judge resigned for the city of Linton, and last month at the last meeting, they voted to approve the contract pending the county's approval and the state's approval. Under the terms of the contract, the state would provide the judge and the courtroom supplies, which they already do for the county. The county would provide a clerk of court's office for filing and that sort of thing, which you already have set up in place. The city has, I guess, I've been their attorney for the last 9 years. Looking back at our caseloads, you're looking at about 2 to 4 cases a year. So, addition. Whereas the county runs 50 to 100 criminal cases a year, probably the same amount of civil cases a year. So, it would be, a couple extra cases that would have to get filed, e-filed. I don't think there's really any significant additional work that would be involved in that. The city would pay for everything else associated with the defendants, prosecution, all that kind of stuff. The city already utilizes the district court for most of its civil cases, so we're just talking about some ordinance violations. I think it's kind of a logical next step, considering that the city is in contract with the sheriff's department for policing. They're writing the same tickets, but instead of being able to file them in the same manner, they have to go through the city's office. The city also's municipal court is in this building, right in this room. So we're kind of already providing the services, we're just not making it streamlined where we have access to an actual judge that can enforce orders and judgments. One of the problems the city's been running into. I know the city of Napoleon and Logan County entered into the same contract, use the same terms that they have. And it seems like it's working out for them pretty well. I've been in their city court and it's just kind of nice to have an actual judge and be able to e-file things. If right now, if there's a city case and you can't search it anywhere, it doesn't show up, it's just sort of in a file, either my office or Sharon's office. And when people don't pay, then, if they get fined $50 and they don't pay, then you're kind of limited what you could do, because if you don't have a law trained judge, they can't send somebody to jail, so they can't really hold them in contempt of court. They can issue a warrant to have them brought in front of them, but they don't have regular court hours, so it just sort of gets lost in the shuffle. So that's what they're asking for. It would have to be approved by the presiding judge of the district court as well as the state court administrator. As far as the money that they bring in, it's not very much. Most of the cases in the city just go through district court anyway. So this would be like specific ordinance violations. So you're looking at maybe a couple $100 a year. And of that money, the state's going to take 60% of that. And the city and the county would split the remaining 40%.
So it's really not gonna change a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's additional, but it's not like it's doubling the workload or costs or anything.
No, you know, and like I said, in 9 years, we've never had more than 6 cases. So you're probably realistic looking at 2 to 4 cases a year. That would, I don't know that it's really any extra work, maybe a little bit. 15 minutes to get it started probably would be my guess. And it'll be easier for me. I think it'd probably be easier for Craig too, because he doesn't have to set up the courtroom twice. We all just have the 1 monthly court date, so therefore, if there's a municipal court case that month, then they would just be put in with the regular district court cases. It'd be easier for, well, the city would save money because they wouldn't have to employ a judge, a municipal judge. So right now, they're having to employ a municipal judge. They pay them a salary each month, whether there's cases or not. So they'll be able to do away with that position. It'll save them time and money from that perspective, and then also for the auditor's office. I just think from law enforcement, from my standpoint, having district court judges to work with and keep things on track so that they don't fall through the cracks will be pretty nice. So I'm in support of it, but you guys have to make that decision. And like I said, if you do decide to agree to it, then we'll have to have the support of the state and the judge as well.
Gary, do you see any issue with it on your side of law enforcement?
No, I agree with Mr. Hanson. I think it would streamline it. I think it would be better well served. I think it's a money savings option for the city of Lytton. Some of the problems we had previously is communication between the municipal judge and Joe's office or my office, and I think this would be much better served. I really do. And again, I think the caseload is extremely minimal for the city stuff.
Well, it seems to me that the state is basically inheriting a majority of the costs anyway. It's not like it's a huge cost increase and a workload issue. Right, and like you said, there might be years we get no cases and we're not even affected at all. So, I mean, I guess if it adds a little more legitimacy and streamlining and there's minimal cost.
Usually when there's a city ordinance violation, the city sends their notices out, and most of those notices are rectified. They're taken care of. Right. They never get to the part of actually going to court. You only end up in court is when somebody's defiant or doesn't, follow
maybe having a
previous warnings and so forth.
Maybe having a district judge and actually having to come into court might maybe even sway some of them away too. So
especially some of the people, like he said, it's usually the people who are really defiant. Well, that's the time it's nice to have a judge. Somebody that's not going to take any of that, and they'll just tell them what it is and move on.
Okay, well, I don't see any issue with going into this, and like I said, the state's got to approve it yet anyway, so I guess I'd entertain a motion to approve, table, or deny that court services contract between the city of Lytton.
I'll make a motion to approve, basically the 1-year contract.
Yep. Okay, good motion by Commissioner Holland. Seconded by Commissioner Terry to approve the court services contract between Emmons County and the city of Lytton. Is there any more discussion on this? The motions? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Contract approved. All right. Stroudsburg City is Todd Fair demolishing homes.
Adam Drescher, Stroudsburg City Auditor. So we got some bids. Russ Lawler came in basically at $1,500 to dig a pit, and then $6,500 per home for a total of $21,000 to remove the 3 homes, and then we have clay left over from the lagoon project, so he would bring the clay in and push into the basements basically. And then Clyde Bush, he came in at $1,200 to dig the pit, and then $5,800 per house for a total cost of $18,600. So he's $1,400 cheaper, so, or no, excuse me. Yeah, about 3,000 cheaper, yeah. 2,400 cheaper. Same thing, he's gonna, you know, take our clay and, you know, push in the basements when he's done and then apparently we have to get an asbestos inspection, which we're gonna do this week. I was told we didn't have to, but then the state said we do need to, and so hopefully we don't need any abatement because that is gonna get real expensive, but.
Right, I have to haul at the specific site down in Sioux, right, or?
If it, so certain types of asbestos we can vary.
Okay,
Like one type has to be watered while it's being removed. They just ask you to put water on it to keep
keep the dust down.
the dust down. Another type you don't need to do anything with. So those first two types can both be buried. The third type has to be abated. Hopefully we don't have the third type.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's that one?
It's some sort of asbestos, but that's typically in more commercial buildings, I was told. It's typically not in residences or residential.
Wrap and pipes, commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it depends on the age of things, the technology, and some asbestos was probably more deadly than others, but.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So that's basically what we're looking at. So we were.
So did the city own these lots down there?
Yes.
They did.
Yep, we bought all three of them, yeah.
And all three of these are in Old Town, or like in the watered area down there?
Yeah, Old Town, that water, yeah.
Okay,
One of them's gonna be a little tough to get to because it's really wet. So what they were gonna do is bring in the clay to kind of give themselves a good base. And then when they're done, they'll just use that same clay and push it in the basement. So the other two houses aren't gonna be bad, you know.
One is Andy Rice's, that's a tough one.
That one on the corner there, yeah,
that's a wet part of town.
With all those outbuildings.
yeah.
So what is the cost share on that? I mean, gonna be, the city, what's the city gonna pay?
Well, that's, I mean, we're gonna have to pay it all. I mean, you know, I guess, so it depends on what, you know, the county is willing to, you know, cost share, but yeah, no, the city's gotta pay it all. I mean, we don't have a choice, you know.
Well, that's my question. Did the county cost share with other cities for tearing down houses?
Well, I think the typical way it's always been is generally these properties come back to the county and we've torn the houses down and sell them back to the city for $1. So you could argue we do cost share with all of them because we did all the dirty
That's where
work.
we get happy.
Right, I mean, you could argue, I think, you know, my belief in wanting to probably participate in some ways that we've talked a long time about trying to get rid of this old part of Strasburg. I mean, we pump water there, you know, the money we stuck into the helping cost share with the piping and the pumping because it was saving our roads, and the lagoon issue with Strasburg, and now the lagoon issue is gonna be getting rectified, but you still have residents on the outskirts of town and that, like the main road coming out by the elevator and stuff. I mean, there might be other ways to mitigate that water if the homes aren't there. You might be able to just build up the road a little bit more and be done with some of this stuff. Or, you know, that's where the issue is always these residences in this small corner of town. And I think that's where.
Well, there's still one house there. I think Dick Keller has a house there.
Two of them.
Oh, two of them.
Sure.
Yeah, one he lives in, although one, would just be to the south of it. I mean, right across the way.
Whose is that one?
To the south or to the west?
To the west,
To the
probably.
west.
I guess it'd be to the west, yeah.
Whose is
Dick
that?
Keller's.
Oh, he owns them both?
Yes, yeah, and he took a term of life thing, so basically as long as he's alive, you know, I don't know what he does for, I guess the showers are quick and the bathroom breaks are minimal, but he wants to stay there, so.
Yeah, because I think he filled in the basement, I think.
Right.
But the house he lives in?
You have an issue down in that town is the fact that the water system could break at any moment and the sewer system basically doesn't work. Because the water's so bad. I mean, everything is full. I mean, the basements, everything in that whole area is. It's terrible. I've done work down there for the city down there. We had to repair a water main break and it was an absolute nightmare. We had groundwater at 3 feet. We were breaking through the road with trucks. It's a nightmare. It really is. It's basically uninhabitable. It's amazing that anybody's even been there as long as it's been. So, you know, and I don't have a number in my head or anything like that, I feel like it's basically, whether you help them tear it down, or you did like you did before, where you went and tear them down yourself and gave them for $1, you're technically cost sharing all these demolitions in some way, shape, or form, so as far as that goes.
I'll say that Strasburg too, this is kind of just the end of the line as far as costs. I mean, they've already paid to litigate, buy out these properties, and they spent a lot of money already. Just in their defense, I guess. I mean, this could have been an expensive last 3 years, and we're kind of getting to the end of it here. I don't think they asked for any help on that, but that was kind of a different deal. The only thing they could have maybe done was hope that those properties went back to the county. It wasn't really their problem anymore, but they kind of want to get out of that, because their problem is, it's kind of an emergency, really. I mean, they needed to act on it rather than wait and then maybe somebody buys it at the auction or something like that.
Well, that's the issue you had too, is that they could have slow played it and let the county inherit these properties, and we would have ended up tearing them all down anyway. They're already participating in the tearing down and doing a lot of it. If we participate in some of the spending
So Joe,
on it,
would that
we were
be
gonna spend money either.
As it being an emergency, we could declare an emergency deck and just pay this out of our emergency fund.
Could we? I've never worked with this, you guys have.
Well, I tell you one thing, it's definitely a health hazard, even just having them buildings down there, because if you're gonna have uninhabited, they're not gonna be uninhabited for long. There's gonna be
No, they're already inhabited,
coons, and I mean, you're gonna get wild animals living in, you're gonna have a nuisance, you get rats, you get everything, so it is a bit of a health hazard, no doubt about it. I mean, the faster you get them houses tore down, the better, just for the overall safety of that part of town and everything, and especially the other issue too is if you do have them houses demolished, I mean, if you have a fire down there, anything, it's gonna be almost impossible to fight it, so the less structures down there, the less chance of something like that too, so, I mean, I don't know, I mean, you're looking at, I mean, just, we're
Did you have
basically,
to dig up any sewer lines or any water lines or anything?
no, because basically with
That shut off.
the sewer system down there, all these houses went to a lift station, and that lift station got pumped into the main sewer, a block up right at the corner there by the Randy Zockers, yep, and so, that pump, I think, quit because it was pumping more groundwater than sewer water. It was inundating the sewer system, so they shut the pump off, like, I think it was a year ago or something. And that was the beginning of this process. They just said, hey, we can't even service the sewer no more. And you couldn't maintain it, so I think the sewer and all that's basically been disconnected. There's nothing going into it. It's all just groundwater inundating the whole area. And same with the water system. I know a bypass was installed, K&H and myself worked on it, so you can actually shut off water to that part of town.
Okay.
So you can isolate the services, actually right now, you can shut the water off and the sewer's disconnected. I'm assuming power would be just as simple in some way, just probably a transformer or two, and then that part's disconnected, so probably most of the power's off, a lot of it anyway, so I don't think you're gonna have an issue with services disconnecting, so yeah. I guess the one question I would just have is, have you verified if these guys are all licensed and bonded and insured?
But yes, we did ask that question, they said they were.
Okay, so everybody,
I mean, I didn't verify the actual, but that was the very
well, they would
first
just
question.
have to provide proof of that, I'm sure, if they were awarded, if
Yeah.
they're bonded and insured and all that stuff, so, okay. Well, I guess, really, I mean, like, if you guys are going through with it, no matter what, I guess whatever contract you decide, and they provide their proof and all that, and I guess we could discuss at that point if we wanna, how much we wanna do, or, I mean, unless somebody's got an idea now, and wanna appropriate something, I guess, or whatever you think, and if you wanna wait on it yet, or.
I've never worked with this, so have you guys got more input than I have?
Well, like I said, just, I mean, educationally, I can just tell you, it's just a different way of doing it. Most of the cities don't spearhead their demolition, they usually wait for us to do it, and then they get the lot back for $1. So we were spending
Thousands of dollars.
5 to 10,000 in disposal and tear.
Yeah, Lynn just tore one down beside me.
Yeah.
So what is the total? On the cheaper bid?
18,600.
That's the cheaper bid?
Yeah.
$1,400.
Cause I mean, even like with Litton's deal on that one though, that was more kind
But that
of
was the bank still owed that
condemning,
lot.
right, but that was kind of a condemning city
It was,
deal, more
it
than
was.
like back taxes or, I mean, this is kind of more along the lines of abandonment, where that other.
So what did it cost us to clean up that time? Do you know?
Well, no, that money's time.
They just did it.
Oh, they did.
I know when
They did that
Francis tore down several houses, I think that was a couple winters ago.
Yeah,
and-
right.
But we had to haul that to Wishick and everything, and by the time you were done with that, I bet we were close to 8 to 10 grand, I think, when you counted the labor,
Yeah, I think-
the hauling, I mean,
I think it was $8,000 or $10,000.
I would say 6,500 a home with digging the pit, now they're right in the ballpark, or maybe even a little cheaper than what we were doing it for, so that's why I think a cost share scenario in my mind, if the county was tearing it down, especially down there, I don't even know how you, I mean, it's gonna be tough.
That's gonna be tough down there. I drove down there this past weekend.
Well, thankfully, we've got like 400 yards of clay or something crazy left over from the lagoon.
Right, you're gonna have to, like you said, you're gonna have to build a road
Yeah.
almost in there, cause the road you
Yeah.
have in there, you put a truck on it, you're
Yep.
going through it, so, I mean, I just,
You know, they talked about crane mats and stuff, but then you gotta dig the damn things out. So you're almost better off just using that clay and building yourself a good base and then pushing it in afterwards, be done with it.
I think it's a fair assessment to say that most municipal demolitions in the county have fallen on the county. The city very seldom in any town demos their own unless it's something they wanna, you know, like the city of Litton's deal was kind of their own separate thing on this last one, I mean, that was they were basically condemning the property, doing their own thing, they wanted it done whether we were participating or not. This is more along the lines of the classic back taxes, abandonments, and we were tearing down all the houses one way or the other, so.
Maybe we should wait and find out, because we don't know what the asbestos, that could be another $10,000.
Right, I don't think we gotta really make a decision today, other than the fact that unless we're either on board or not, because that'll probably help with their decision. I mean, I would say at this point,
I mean, we're gonna have to do it.
Right.
It doesn't, yeah, I mean, they can't stay there, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, how much is it gonna cost? That's the, you know? So-
Well, I think maybe after your asbestos inspection.
Okay.
And then you can evaluate if you don't have to do anything different, these bids are good, then you guys decide on a contractor and let us know, and then we can probably make a decision how much you wanna participate.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that would be the fairest way to do it, cause I hate to commit to something and then you find out with asbestos, now all of a sudden it's double. So I would say that would be, and also too, that would make our decision different too, because maybe you need a little more, I don't know, I mean, it's just, I'd say we need all the information first.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable.
Thanks for coming in and bringing this up.
Thank you, appreciate it. Take care now.
Okay, so the next on the topic of discussion is the preliminary budget. 2024 preliminary budget, so she stepped out for a little bit, but guessing these manila envelopes and the yellow.
I'm kind of surprised actually, because most of the time we have to tear down those houses in Strasburg before, I mean, the county did that.
Well, I think that's the argument even Joe presented too.
Well, most of the time they wait till it's
They usually stuck us with it, so honestly, I mean, whether you help them do it, or you end up getting stuck with it, if Strasburg doesn't tear them down in X amount of time, we're probably gonna be forced to do something anyway. I mean, it might take 5-10 years for that process out, because they kind of initiated a different process, but we've always really helped tearing houses down, no matter what town.
One of them actually was 2 years delinquent on taxes that Strasburg bought out, and then Strasburg had to pay those taxes.
Right, so you
So
could
they'd already
argue
paid
they
you
could
guys.
have, but they didn't wanna take the chance
But
of
yeah,
someone else swooping in,
somebody
so
else
that's why they
swoops
did
in.
what they did. But in a way, you could almost view it like they have done the county a favor in the sense that traditionally, these cities went, no, we don't want it, and then we tear it down, well, now you have this lot, well, we're gonna have to mow, well, then guess who gets it for $1? So that really was a cost share, just form, so that's where.
Well, in this case, it would be better, because we did, stay with Hill on the lots, and would he be the county?
Exactly, and that's where, and I think they're curing a problem that everybody's realized is a big problem, which is that area is basically uninhabitable till that water goes down. And I don't think anybody can answer that question, or that it'll never come back again, so I think
You guys are looking for the budget?
Maybe you should put your desk up there, so we can see you all the time, rather than the back there.
Put my desk where?
Up here someplace.
Up here?
Yeah.
Back there. Okay, y'all have your budget on you?
Yep.
I did give you guys a folder. All the updated, departmental budgets at the last meeting. You guys just kind of told department heads to kind of put in what they thought they wanted for salaries and
So all those updated budgets that were given to me are included
They
in
are,
this proposal.
they are included.
So if we look at the levies, the very first page there, what I usually do is compare to what we did in 2022 as far as the mills go, compared to what we would have to do this year. So, conservation is just going up just a tiny bit, as you can see. The county general fund, I'm gonna have to raise a little over 3 mils. The county road and bridge is gonna have to go up to the maximum of 10. County agent, we always keep at 2. The VA officer went up just a little bit, and the reason for that is because Jeff never had any travel in his budget for 23, where Brad is gonna be attending this conference as a person, so there's gonna be some travel there, so we have increased that a little bit. Capital projects, I went down, we just jail, have quite a bit of money in there at the beginning of the year this year. So I'm gonna be able to lower that just a little bit. Emergency fund, when I did the snow removal, sent it up to the state with the emergency state, when the legislators appropriate so much money for emergency snow removal. I sent it to get $500,000, we got over $500,000. So what I did there is all the monies that we spent on the emergency fund, snow cats for slaughter construction, for all overtime, equipment use, I put that money back in there. And then there was like 130-some thousand left that I stuck into highway tax. So by us being able to recoup all the expenses in the emergency fund that we spent out, we don't have to put any mill levy in there.
So how much we have in there now?
We'll go through that when I get to that, okay? Federally, we always do 5 mills. Historical Society, they can do the 0.25. Public health went down just a little bit. Seniors is always 1 mil. Weed control went down somewhat. Water resource, they increased it just a little bit. And then county hospital does the 5 mils, the ambulance a 2. So we have a total mill increase of a negative 0.01. So, with that being said, if your valuation did not increase from last year to this year, your taxes won't have an increase. If your valuation went up a little bit, like residential's did, like my home did, you'll have just a little bit of increase because of the valuation went up.
But it'll only be an increase because of your valuation, not because
Right.
of actual rate.
Like I looked at residential, and I had like a 10,000 increase in valuation, figuring the same mill levy last year to this year. It's gonna go up about $60, which is,
That county road bridge, 10 mils, how long is that gonna go yet? I thought that was gonna be,
well, the federal aid is going.
federal aid's coming. When is that going away? Pretty quick.
We can levy it this year and next year yet, but we're gonna put it on the ballot next year. I'm hoping you guys let me put it on the ballot. We'll have to discuss that early winter, of next year. Speaking of valuations, I just wanted, last year, 1 mil was worth $41,402.32. This year, it's $42,016.20. And the reason for that is we didn't go up in ag value, we went up in residential. After we sent all the sales ratios and everything into the tax department, they came back and said that we're not gonna be in compliance with our commercial. We're gonna be out of tolerance there. The ratio is at 87%.
It's supposed to be 90.
It's supposed to be between 90 and 100. So Tuesday, if any of you want to take their hat and write tax director on there, go to the state utilization meeting with me and try to get the state utilization board to leave us alone because we didn't have a tax director. But I'm going to be going on Tuesday, and we sent a letter up yesterday asking that they let us go for now until we get the tax director on board to go out to assess some properties, because where we're out of tolerance is not on the commercial businesses itself, it's the vacant lots. It's Rice Lake and Cattail Bay, all those vacant lots sold, which cause the market to go up, which cause our sales ratio to go up. So my argument with the equalization board on Tuesday is going to be, I don't feel it's right to punish the businesses to raise their taxes or to raise their valuations, because they had nothing to do with any of the market, with the sales ratio. It was all these vacant lots. So if they want us to raise our commercial, let's do just the lots like down at Rice Lake and up at Cattail. Because I don't think it's fair for the businesses to have theirs increase. That's gonna be my argument, but
So those
I
are,
sent a letter yesterday asking to the board already, asking them if they would consider just leaving it alone for now, for this year.
so those are considered commercial lots down at Rice?
The vacant
When
ones.
they're vacant.
So all these,
State separates it, once you start building and developing.
Then it becomes-
residential.
then it was
It's just the way the state tax board see the difference, if it's developed. It's called commercial, but it's not taxed.
Beaver Bay would probably report that to all the vacant lots, or by
Right, but
by
this-
the developer trying to sell it, once they go into residential, reassess.
we found that the sales that we used though that we used for last year was all from Slate, yeah. So my argument on Tuesday to the state's gonna be, try to leave, if you'll let us leave it alone and let us stay at the 87%. If not, don't punish our businesses, because
What time is that?
I don't want to use the word punish, but I mean, I don't feel it's right for the businesses to have their valuation increase when we didn't have any businesses that sold. It was all vacant lots. It's on Tuesday, and I believe it starts at 8:30, and I don't know when Emmons County gets called. They don't go in alphabetical order, they kind of change it up every year, like if
Is that-
Emmons was the first one last year, will probably be the last, so.
Is that at the Capitol?
It's at the Capitol, yeah.
And you're driving up?
Yeah, somebody from Emmons has to go, because we don't have a tax director, so I said I would do it.
I might ride with you on that one.
Okay.
I haven't yelled at anybody for a while, so.
And I'm not,
I've been getting yelled at. I
I'm
haven't
not
yelled at
even
anybody.
sure
There's a big difference now.
who's all on that board. I know Doug Gehring, and I think the tax commissioner, and
Oh, that's some elected officials? Oh, then I
maybe the
definitely
state
go away.
auditor's office,
You
and
can
I
yell at them
think,
and nothing happens to you,
I think the
so.
state treasurer, and I don't even know
Okay.
if Bergen's on there or not, but,
Well, he's probably in Iowa, so.
so.
Okay.
So I just kind of wanted to explain that. And then the next page is unorganized road district, of course, has a different taxable valuation than the county, because unorganized road, you have to take the total taxable valuation of the county, subtract the cities and Campbell Township to get that taxable valuation. Now, last year you guys dropped that levy down, 16.78. We're gonna have to go up to the 18 this year. We still won't be able to make budget, but I just wanna stress that you do keep those mills at 18, because when House Bill 1012 passed, there was a stipulation in that bill that a county must levy 18 mills to be eligible for any flexible transportation grant programs. So all that grant money that's out for all these township roads right now, legislators said if you're not levying the 18 mills,
Not gonna
you
get
will
it.
not qualify for any of the grant.
So even if they have the money, they're not gonna give it to you unless you're taxing to the max.
They want you taxed at the max, yeah.
Classic.
Okay, and then, the next page actually, instead of the mills, it shows the proposed tax revenue that we're gonna bring in, and there's an increase of like $48,000.
So basically, just looking at this shotgun approach,
Yep,
it's very little to no increase.
that's right.
But the reason why is because we got a few funding mechanisms, like the emergency funding from the state legislature. If we didn't, we would probably be looking at a couple $100,000 increase, right? Like just so you're looking at this going, oh, we did all these different things and didn't raise taxes and only did that because we got some funding. So
But you know, unorganized roads, it's gonna go from 16.78 mils to 18, so.
And that's not included with it, that's a separate sheet.
So there'll be a little bit of increase on there on some people's taxes.
So you're roughly looking at, if you combine them two sheets, about $100,000 increase, right? Because it's 48,000 for your, like your general fund and all the other, and then 50 is for that unorganized road.
Right.
Right. So,
So like if you're a farmer, it's gonna go up just if your valuation stayed the same from last year to this year, you're gonna have a little increase because of that unorganized road. You're gonna have to increase that levy by those 2 mils.
and then like.
Because you have to go to 18 or you can't get any grants.
Right, but even in your city property, it doesn't pay for the unorganized road, right?
Right,
And so they're looking at, if their valuation doesn't change, it's very, very
right.
small.
But all residents went up in the city, so.
Right, so
because
they're
their
gonna see a
valuation
valuation
increased.
increase
Yeah.
probably too, but it's still, it's a marginal increase for as much as we've increased the budget, but that's because we also got some state funding and stuff
Right.
like that, so. I
And
mean,
then
that's just.
you got that grant for that technology thing.
Yeah, so that's
gonna-
another thing.
Right, but that's what I'm just saying, I'm just reminding you that if a couple of that fund,
Yeah.
if there isn't some other version of that funding next year, so
Yeah,
you're
right.
probably gonna see the big increase next year, so just keep that in mind, cause typically what happens, well, I mean, especially for you, Dan, since your first budget cycle, you know, generally, we don't make a lot of changes to the preliminary budget, cause there's really no reason to. You just really can't go higher than now, but you can always go lower. So we always try and throw out the worst case scenario. Well, this worst case scenario is not gonna look that bad, but next year it could. So just remember, like, when you look at over your budgets and stuff, I mean, there's still a reason to do some
Sure.
cutting. I mean, I'm not saying you gotta go through and slash everything down, but you're almost kind of budgeting for next year a little bit. You don't know what funding sources are coming or what you're gonna spend, and just, and I'm just saying, I'm gonna just use this as an example. We worked hard on salaries. My recommendation is you try and leave them alone, or just, and work on some other stuff first with that, just because we did a lot of work with the salary stuff, because I don't wanna go backward with a lot of that. I'm not saying you can't do anything with it, but just, like, there's other areas with some of this stuff, you know, just look over some of these budgets and just remember that, you know, if this year's looks good, if you don't get some of that emergency funding, things like that, next year's budget could be really ugly. So you'd be smart to still do some cutting and just keep it reasonable, and then next year we don't have a monster to try and tame, so.
And if we would have a bad winter like we had this year, there's a good possibility the legislators would call in for a special session and do some help us out. Not always, but they have done that in the past, so.
Well, typically, as long as the state's had money, there's been funding going around, but that being said, if that funding stops, there's a pretty big, I mean, there's gonna be budgeting issues with a lot, and we're gonna be no different, so just, that's one thing to remember. Yep, just keep it in mind.
So where is that 75,000 that if we budgeted for the airport, where would that be?
Well, that's not really in here.
That's not in here, so.
I don't know, you know, you've got a few places where you could do it, you could raise a couple mills in the general fund. Just keep in mind, I think, and I, without having a levy limitation book here, maybe you read the century code, but Joe, you could probably look up that century code and help me with this too, but if you would decide to do like a 2 mil county mill levy for the airport, I don't think you can use that full county taxable valuation. I think because Lincoln City already levies 4 mills.
Right.
I think we have to subtract their valuation out of it, right?
That's right, because they've already.
And Hazelton
taxed
City
as much as
also
possible.
levies for the airport. So I think we have to take that valuation off of it too. So 1 mil would not bring in that 42,000 then. I know what Lincoln City is taxed, we have all the valuations done, I just don't have them with me here to tell you what 1 mil would actually bring in then. But that's one thing you could do, is you could create a new, you guys have the authority to do an airport levy. Without going to a vote, you guys have authority to do that. But I'd have to check what the taxable valuation would actually be, so you know how many mills you could do, you'd want to do. The second thing you could do is just appropriate it out of the general fund, but then you'd have to raise 2 mills there. And then you talked about ARPA, but I don't know what the committee all has, if they have all that money appropriated already or not, I'm not sure.
So wherever whatever we do, we'd have to set up a mail deal with.
Right, or unless you would, do like with these road projects, if there's something, I don't know, Skylar, you have to apply for these projects through that grant. Would the airport even qualify for that? I don't know.
We can definitely look into it.
There might be some funding there then. That's the only thing.
Yeah, now the emergency fund, I mean, we would have something available though.
Well, the emergency fund you can't spend any money on the emergency fund unless you declare an emergency.
Unless you-
And I
but
don't
there
think
would
this
be
airport
funds in
thing
there.
would be an emergency.
No, it wouldn't be for that,
But the city of Strasburg would be, because you could declare a health emergency because those homes are flooded.
okay.
And you could appropriate some money out of there.
Well, the thing too, like you said, basically that the emergency fund's basically been replenished by that legislature fund.
Yeah.
So we're basically back to where we were before the emergency we declared this winter. And that's why we're not taxing for that, though, right? So that fund's probably.
And I could always put in a mill if you wanted me to in that emergency fund. I just thought maybe you guys wanted to keep it down to not raise taxes this year. So that's why I did that.
Well, you can get by
You
without
can
it,
change
yeah.
anything that I did. I just, I'm just presenting a preliminary
Right.
budget for what I came up with, but you guys change whatever you want.
I just don't want it to be in a boat where at the end of the year, we're in trouble. I mean, if you can get by without it, yeah.
Well, I think if it's been replenished to a level
Yeah.
where it was before, like you said, there's no point in taxing for it. I think what you did there was a good way to do it.
Okay, so we'll keep going here. So the next page, I have the lease payments. And this is for the, all the equipment with the county shop. And then I did an index for you guys, so if you wanna look up a fund, you can get to the right page and follow me. One more page down. You have the index, and then we'll start out with the general fund. The general fund is gonna, on page 1, Schedule B, page 1, square. The appropriation is $3,282,568.02. I'm transferring out $13,704.10 to the 911 fund because I wasn't able to make budget with our revenues and expenditures. Our revenues coming in, expenditures going out is gonna be short, so I'll have to transfer that dollar amount out of the general fund into the 911. I put a cash reserve of $330,000 in there, which that's not very much, to have in there, but I'm okay with that. Estimated revenue, I estimated the revenue coming in that you'll see like on page 2 and on page 3, that's like with sheriff fees, registration of deeds, motor vehicle, state judiciary, reimbursements, penalty and interest, transmission, state aid, everything for 2024, except for property taxes. So when you take your total appropriation of $3,626,270.12, subtract what I estimate the cash on hand will be at the end of the year, which is that $784,896.91. Add that $1.1 million revenue, we're gonna have to levy $1,698,548.19, and that's where that 40 mills comes into place. Okay, so page 1, 2, 3, and 4 is all, and 5 is all general fund. So if you want to go on to Schedule C, page 6. So these next few pages is how I figure out the amount that we're going to have to levy, and it's based off of page forward. Like to page 12, you'll see county road and bridge. That's shows the actual revenue expenditures for 22, what I'm estimating for 23, and what I need for 24. And this information, I then take over to the Schedule C, page 6, to figure out how much we're gonna have to levy in tax dollars. Okay? So when you take the county road and bridge fund, the maximum levy in that fund is 10 mills. which would generate $420,162.04. With the current budget that was proposed to us, we would need to levy $634,285.55. You'll see I highlighted that on the bottom there. With that being said, $214,123.51 will have to be cut out of the budget, because I cannot levy the $634,000. I can only levy 10 mills, and that would bring in the $420,162. So what you'll have to do is take that county road and bridge budget in your packet, and you're gonna have to cut something down off of there. The 214,000, because I can't make budget with it. Okay, and then the next one is the federal aid. Federal aid fund is okay. We'll levy the 5 mills in there, which is at $210,081.02. And then you'll see the next one is highway tax, which I also highlighted. And highway tax brought in quite a bit of extra revenue this year. If you go to page 14, the 2023 highway tax distribution, and these are figures that I get from the state, were estimated to bring in $450,000 this year and $460,000 next year. Then that miscellaneous revenue I put in for 2023 of that $357,982.07, I broke that down. So $33,856.15 we took from the emergency fund and put in highway tax when we paid some of the overtime. And in the state snow emergency, after I replenished the emergency fund, there was $179,386.92 that I put in highway tax. And also, we're gonna be getting $144,739 from the state by the end of this year through that legacy fund. So that was supposed to be put into highway tax also.
See, that's all stuff we might not have next year, right?
Probably won't have the state emergency, no, we won't have.
How about that state?
The state legacy, I think that was just a one-time deal.
Okay.
Well, that was a one-time deal or one biennium deal? We get it twice?
We won't get it next year.
Okay, so just a
We'll just get
one-time,
it this
okay.
year. So with that being said, if you spend everything in highway tax that was appropriated, if you spend it all, you're gonna be $167,000 in the red by the end of 2024. That's no mill levy, that is just money that comes right from the state. There's no tax levy on this one. And this is where we pay the salaries out of, and the travel, and I think some meal expenses, I think we pay out of there. Okay, the next one is road district. That one's also gonna be short, $475,000. 18 mills will generate taxable revenue of $667,723.41. According to the budget request, we would need to levy that $1.1 million that I highlighted there, Schedule C, page 6. So you're gonna have to cut $475,000 of that. Okay, the next fund is the permit fund. So if you guys, if you don't, you can follow along. I'm going to page 16. That permit fund was generated for all of the vehicle and road permits that we do. I estimated, we had a balance of $948,000 at the end of 22. I don't know if we're going to spend any money out of there in 23, but I'm going to appropriate $600,000 in 24. I'm assuming if you're going to cut anything out of the county road and bridge and the road district, you're probably going to cut the gravel out. And then we'll have to use that permit fund to.
Like gravel.
Once that money is gone, it's gone. A lot of that came from the wind farm. Money from all the low pass. Then page 17, this was that ER sites that we had a couple of years ago, remember, emergency relief sites with some of our roads in the flooding. All of that is done. The roads have been repaired, the money's been reimbursed to us. There was like $18,451.17 left. I went again, just transferred that out and put it in every time. Page 18 is House Bill 1505. That was the revenue we received in 2022 of $740,749. We used it to buy some gravel last year and this year, so there's $144,000 left in there. I appropriated all that to be used for gravel in 24, and then that fund will be closed out after. Page 19 is the prairie dog money. We received in 2013, we received $1,137,568.67, and then House Bill 1066, Operation Prairie Dog. There was also $388,956 that we received. So that has a balance of $1,526,000 in there yet. That I appropriated it out for 2024, and you'll see I put like engineering 100,000, fencing 20, contractor 800,000. I'm not sure what you guys can do with this money. I know it's supposed to be used for road projects. I don't know if it can be used just for maintenance, or if you have to do road projects. I know Scott, you probably know more than that.
Well, a lot of that money is probably going towards this 2 box culverts that Kelch Cross and you.
And then that's right.
Hold on. So the 2, we had Old Engineering, so.
Okay. Page 20 is some state revenue share, and I take some money and put it into here from state aid distribution and pay out to the library, fire departments, the Tri-County Fair. And then that's where I'm going to pay the $37,000 I'm sure with the Title Technologies. And I put in some miscellaneous of $50,000 because if we ever have a repair or something like that, I pay that out of there. Usually something that comes up that we don't have a budgeted line item for is where I pay it out of. So we usually spend that out of there. Page 21 is the emergency admin. What did you ask me a while ago? I said, we'll get to that emergency.
Oh, how much was in there?
Okay, so at the end of 2022, we have $380,889.78. The revenue for 2023, I'm expecting $483,374.18. You'll see on one of the line items, I put in that $334,000. That's from the snow removal that we received from the state. So far this year, we've spent that $334,000 out of here, but I did appropriate an extra. I put $400,000 in there because I thought, you don't know if we're gonna have what our October, November, December snow is gonna be. So this is where you would pay the city of Strasburg to pay money out of the emergency fund. You would do that out of that $400,000.
So what do we got in there, 450?
At the end of the year, you'll have $464,000 in there. You spend the $400,000 this year. You've already spent the $334,000, but if you would spend the $400,000, you would have $464,000 by the end of the year. So I appropriate $450,000 for next year, which is.
Yeah, I thought that was usually around 300,000 we always had in there, right?
Yeah. So we're actually doing, that's why I didn't levy any tax dollars in here. I figured it'd be okay. But like I said, the choice is yours. If you guys want to do what, I sure can. Page 22 is just the auditorium. That's for auditorium revenue that comes in and out. Sometimes Craig will buy something like a table or something like that, inventory that I paid out of here. This is just for when we rent the auditorium. And then page 23 is the 911. Like I said, I was going to be $13,704 short, so I'm going to transfer that into the general fund, which will balance this budget with no problem. Page 24 is state grants. It's any grants that are written. I know Mary Sanger has some state grants. She writes the sheriff's office has some state grants. It's kind of an in and deal. The money we receive in, we get it back out. Page 25 is that police contract that we received from the city of Linton. $10,000 we put in here that Gary uses it for vehicle and equipment. Page 26 is the jail. This is the one I was talking about. At the end of 2022, I had a balance of $159,000 in that fund. Estimated revenue for 23 is gonna be $115,162.35. And if we only appropriate out of here what we budgeted for 23, that $132,000, we'll end up at the end of the year with $141,000 in there. And then you add estimated revenue of $14,320 for next year, appropriate out the $132,627 again. We're actually sitting pretty good in there, so I dropped that levy down. And hope and pray we don't have a big prison or this, but I can bring that back up if you want me to. It's up to you guys. And then the Sheriff 27 program, that's a program that the Sheriff's Office uses for 24/7. Page 28 is hazardous chemical. That's Mary Sanger's fund. She gets some revenue, spends it back out on some trainings. Page 29 is a little fund the extension office has. They get some money in and they spend it back out on things. Page 30 is a district court trust fund that the Clicker Court has. I'm not sure what they use it for. It's just a little bit that it goes in and out. Page 31 is the state medical levy. We're required to levy up to 1 mil for the state medical center in Jamestown. State game and fish. We used to do, we still do game and fish, fishing license and hunting licenses in our office. We would collect the payments and turn it over to the state. Well, they changed it to where we can only do credit and debit cards now. So there was like $63.50 in there. I'm transferring that into the general fund and then close this fund out. The next one is a domestic violence fund. I believe this is used with your office, right, Joe? Through victim witness or something?
Victim witness.
Okay. And then on page 34, we have a reimbursable fund. And what that's used for is like insurance payments. We have an insurance claim, we put it in the reimbursable fund, and then after the vehicle's fixed, we take it back out. And so it's just an in and out for insurance claims. And I also do it with our postage machine. We pay the postage up front, turn around, and take it out of individual offices. Real estate tax, some people pay their taxes ahead of time. So we have people that pay throughout about $20,000 throughout the year. And once the taxes are run, we take it out of here and we post their taxes in our software. So this is an in and out. Asset forfeiture fund, that's something that Sheriff's Office uses if there's ever asset forfeiture, like with a arrest claim or whatever you want to say. We just keep appropriating that. There's like $3,000 in there. I just appropriate to spend that all. Document preservation fund, that's what Kathleen uses in the recorder's office to collect when she does her recording fees. Page 38, that siren equipment is going to be done at the end of the year, but I still have to show it in the budget as a zero. And then the county vehicle, with our county vehicle, when we do oil changes, new tires or whatever, usually I just transfer a little bit out of the general fund, but I'm not gonna have to this year, because we're gonna have 7,000 in there, and I think that'll take us through 2024. And then we have the ARPA funding. Well, I appropriate that we're gonna spend $500,000 next year, and this year $100,000. I don't know if we're gonna spend anything this year or not.
When is that gotta be spent by?
By 2026. And then that next one is my LATCF that I was talking about this morning. I have to include that in the budget. And I'm gonna use for the Tyler Technologies. Excuse me. And then page 42 is the Beaver Bay Road. We collected $20,150, and you'll see some bills coming through here today. There's a couple of them. I don't know if that road is done or not.
That's just the fund, their money went in and their money's going out, you're just managing the road.
And then the Schedule D is the ambulance, the senior citizen, historical, water, public health, weed, county hospital soil conservation funds. You guys have authority over those funds also. That's everything. Any questions?
The state hospital one, what do we, they get a mill every year?
Yeah,
Just
from
for-
every county,
From the state hospital, for the state hospital?
yeah. State medical center, I don't think it's the hospital, it's a medical center. I think it's where they do trainings and stuff like that for nurses and doctors and stuff, I'm not certain though. So what happens now is you guys have to decide if you're gonna approve the preliminary budget, or if you wanna make any changes. I need to know this by the end of the day. August 10th is a deadline for like fires, schools, cities, to get me their budgets and levy requests. And then we run the estimated tax statements based off of the mill levies. So whatever you approve today in the preliminary budget is gonna determine the mill levies that are gonna be on the estimated tax statements that we have to have out by the end of the month. Any questions do you guys have for me?
No, I think we should move on to the road conversations and we'll go back to preliminary budget after that.
Okay.
Okay, 11 o'clock is the county road discussion. It looks like the 11 o'clock is Derek Job and Steve Slaughter with Cattail Bay Road and surrounding areas. We're going to step up to the mic and go. Lord, you.
We get some, first like to know how the hiring, you guys got enough people?
The job is still posted, right? We haven't really done interviews or anything. It's only been out for a week or two. So, I don't know if we have any applicants yet or if that's coming in, but they're still coming in for it.
So we give you guys a name, phone number to the guy that, rate that Cattail Road every Saturday. He hasn't got a call yet. And the road is still horrible.
Well, the only thing I know of is I know somebody had told me they were this person was gonna call me and I never got a call, so. Cause I never got a phone number to call anybody, so I don't know.
Don, you have his name and number?
I don't have his name and number. You told me about him and then I told Skylar about it, so.
So Jim told me, he told both of you guys, he give you the name and number, and he hasn't got a call yet.
Well, I talked to Joe
I don't think-
Ketterling and that's.
Jim, you never gave me a number, did you?
Ketterling is not gonna ask, Jesse. But there's also,
I guess Jesse's not the name I was given, so I guess I don't know who you're talking about.
Brian Rudy was,
That was the name that I was given, Jody that said that, and he said that he was gonna, Mr. Ruby's gonna get a hold of me, cause he had to, I don't know, his schedule or something, I never got a call, so I don't know what happened. I assumed it just didn't work, so.
you know, what about, Randy Ritter from the guy we found, the first guy we found? And you have his phone number, you have his name, Jim gave it to you, and he said he called you and gave it to you too.
I don't think Jim gave me any name or numbers of anybody. He said there was a guy. He never gave me no number, I don't think.
Okay, Skylar, you have it, right?
Correct,
Then I told
Did you guys plan on calling him, or?
correct, but that, I was giving it to it before this big gravel project, and there was no way I was bringing on a guy to try to line out before this went on. So the road is horrible now because we trucked on it for 2 weeks. Like, it'll be late, if it wasn't yesterday that he's on his way out there. Like, I know we had an issue with his machine, so then he was on his way out there to get it. I mean, the whole county's struggling, not just Cattail Road. So, I mean, we do have other blade operators filling in also, so.
Okay, Randy would, he would do it every Saturday if you hire him. He's a retired blade operator from Campbell County. He runs a semi for a farmer now and again. But he said he'd definitely do that on Saturday. And it needs it, and it's just bad. We can't keep going like this. You know, we don't want to come in here every other month, you know, and bitch about it. And it's, I don't know if there's a road in Emmons County that's traveled heavier than that one.
Oh, it's definitely a busy road, no doubt.
Yeah, and, it's just got to see a grader, and we're wrecking our vehicles. And I'm sure you guys don't want to see us in there either. Well, that's, I don't know what else to say, but it's got to change, or we gotta go, seek some legal help to find out what our options are. And it's that bad.
Well, like I said, now that the gravel project is done, I mean, and I know we had JT and Terry running some routes too, so we've had some temporary guys on now for a month, a couple weeks. And now that gravel project is done, we should be able to shore that road up a little better. Cause I know before the gravel hauling, the road was awful. I mean, it was definitely rough, but it was in a lot better shape. I hadn't been down there since I hauled gravel, but.
Skyler, he's going in, where his trucks are running, he's grading that road. But it's tough for them guys to keep up, you know. Besides your semis going in there, there's 20 semis a day going into, the warehouse to pick up potatoes. Yeah, that's just beating that road. For long, we ain't gonna have a road. And the start over's gonna cost a hell of a lot more money than maintaining the road we have.
Scott, did you call that guy from South Dakota?
No, because I got his number right before this gravel project, was not gonna bring him on in the mix of this right now, after things settle down. And then with all these temporary helps, you don't know who's gonna work that day, you get two showing up, and it's like trying to herd cats some days. Like,
They're not working every day though, right? Like your couple of your temporary guys, they're not working every day, right? They're
not every day,
right?
But then some days they work, some weeks they work 5 days or 4 days. Some days they work 2.
Do you have a schedule with them or no?
They set their own schedules. They're retired just coming in to help. You can't schedule with them. That's what's tough. It's like trying to herd cats some days.
Yeah, with Randy, it'd be pretty easy because he just wants to work on Saturday.
So it's Saturdays now, and then now the other people in the county will want their roads plated on Saturdays. I mean, do you guys get where we're coming from? Like, I mean, I totally understand your guys' concern. We do, like I do. But, I mean, hopefully now we can start getting back to fully staffed. That was our biggest downfall. Still is our biggest downfall.
Well, let's just hope something changes. We can't keep going on like this. It ain't gonna happen. That's what I have to say.
So when they're out there doing the roads out in that area, do they get all the roads or just the Cattail Road? My road hasn't been bladed once in 2 years.
Yeah, just doing it right up to the gravel.
Since Jack Striley passed away, I'm not the guy that keeps calling in, and you shouldn't have to call in, just do their job. Do the roads out there.
So your road hasn't been bladed in a year?
Once in the fall and maybe once in the spring. And he's out there on north of Baum's place out there. He goes to Baum's and turns around. Must have run out of time, I'm guessing. Had to get home.
So is that 10th Avenue?
10th Avenue. There's not a lot of traffic on that road, but I mean, there won't be a road if it's out there. If they're out there, I mean, if it's 4 miles or more gravel, you gotta go home that way or out that way or.
I don't take up any more of your time.
Last month you were here, and the next day I was out the window and heard the maintainer was right. I thought, Jesus, they got right on it. Till I went to town. They drove all the way in, 5 miles empty, did my quarter mile, drove all the way out empty. Now, does that make sense? If it was just the kids came there to play with us, or, you know, I don't know.
Well, where do you live then?
Right in Cattail. I had main road where the mailbox was. So I go on the boat out to turn and come up and there's just a quarter, that's a county road. But, I mean, you come in there.
That's the only county road in Cattail.
10th Avenue, where you're coming to Cattail.
So this guy that you said in South Dakota, would he just work out in your area there? I mean, is that what his intentions would be?
He would like to just work out that area, do the Cowtail Road and the surrounding roads.
He probably works Sundays too.
And then all want them done Sunday too.
Yeah.
But I think he'd be a great hire. I really do. He's.
This is Randy Ritter?
Yes.
Okay.
You know?
I've heard of his name, yeah.
Yeah,
This is past week.
he's a great operator, for Campbell County for years.
14, I think, so.
How old is he?
14 or 13,
I'm gonna say he's in his middle 60s.
Oh, so he's not an old guy, or?
No, not
Not an old guy at all, but
he's younger than me. And I'm not an old guy.
I think he works for Brandon or Randy Ritter, right?
Anyway, I hope we get some good results.
Well, like I said, the long-term plan here is we got the jobs, they're listed right now. I don't know how long they're gonna be listed. They're generally for about a month, and I know they've been listed for a couple weeks, so hopefully we have some applicants, and in the next couple of weeks, if there are enough, we'll conduct some interviews. The plan is to be fully staffed as soon as possible. That's the meantime plan,
Well, let's just hope it happens soon.
Well, after this money, Skylar, have there been any applicants that have come in? Because you kind of made it sound like that was our rule of thumb, that we had to get this money to get these apps. Has anything happened?
Well, I think it's only been advertised for a week now.
About a week, right, or a little over, so.
Well, I mean, I can't force people to look at the internet or the papers, like, I don't know. Like, we're not the only county struggling either.
Yeah.
Everybody's struggling, nobody wants to work this.
But, you know, I think Brian showed a lot of interest in it, and Randy said, yes, he would, he'd take a drug test, anything you guys asked him, and he had no problem with that.
Didn't Brian work for the county?
I don't know, like I said, I just know it, I know after that.
Many years he worked.
Right, years ago.
After that last meeting, Jody Ketterling had just gotten a hold of me and said that he knew somebody that was interested, and then I said, well, have him give me a call, or I can call him, and he said, well, he's still sorting out the schedule, and when he figures it out, if it'll work, he'll call me, and I never heard from him, so that was the only contact I had, Brian Rudy, and that's through Jody Ketterling, so that was.
He's a finished operator, we don't get any better.
Right, I mean, and like I said, we were more than interested in at least talking about it, like you said, if he works 4 on and wants to work a weekend or something, I mean, we were interested in hearing anything, but I never heard back. And I didn't get his contact info, so I didn't.
Okay, you still have all Randy's information, right? Okay. So, again, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Darius.
Yeah.
I possibly gave him some copy.
Right, I know, I was down there, before they did a travel project, and it was in decent shape, but it doesn't take long to get bad shape, that's the thing.
This guy who's only work on weekends, getting back in shape.
Just like to say something for a second. I live off in that area too, 89th Street, 17th block, places I see the more gravel. Obviously, it's a worker shortage, correct? Why does every big farmer in Emmons County and every county around set, they outsource to South Africans or anything like that? Is that something we can consider doing? Obviously, we don't have anybody willing to work. I mean, it's just an option. I don't know if it's feasible or what. I don't see any of the big farmers having any problems finding help. Why should they help? I mean, these guys are across seas, they're running equipment, they're driving semis, they're doing whatever. More than capable of doing. So maybe that something to consider.
I think you gotta provide housing and all that stuff for them then too.
Well, you know what, I bet there's about 10 houses in Lincoln that you pick up from about 30,000.
There's 3 in Stroudsburg.
Yeah. You know, pick up a house, put up some, it's a little different than Cavendish Farms does.
That's probably what's going to come to.
I think we probably need to start thinking outside the box a little bit here. And instead of waiting for that horse to get to the barn, go get the horse. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Here.
Thanks, guys.
Hey Skylar, you're up.
Morning, Cliff. And let's hear, I guess.
So, you have any applicants at all so far?
Not I hope yet, not in the last week, right? Haven't got any?
I gave you, you picked up that one.
The one, part-timer that, yeah, work around his schedule.
Who's that? John T?
No, someone else took an application. But no, other than that, I mean, but it's only been most of the week. I believe we're advertising on our internet, our website, and
Are we
There we go,
advertising like a statewide classified or any of those? It's basically just the Association of Counties website, our website and Facebook. I
think so.
I think we need to broaden that. I think we need to get it out there, statewide classified or whatever avenue is best to get it out statewide, maybe even outside the state.
so is that the road department? Do you want to take the lead on that, or, I mean,
Well,
historically, I think the auditor,
Well, yeah, you know, I always confide in with campaign, you know, but I've been doing like the tax director and commissioner and stuff, I don't know. Or Gary does his own, I don't know, who's supposed to be doing it.
Right.
Job service, I put tax director of job service, but I don't know where to go.
Do you got any ideas?
Facebook is usually where, when we get applications, and we have a question on there, where did you see it? And they all say Facebook. Facebook is where we see, you share it.
That's mostly just gonna be local, so for the most part, you're not gonna get too broad a spectrum there, so. Okay.
So where do you have now, on the website, Facebook, that's it, just put the paper at all?
Yeah, I think it's in the Emmons County Record, I think I've seen it.
I guess I don't know, historically, thought contacted you and you advertised. So if we wanna let the road department take the reins on it and decide where we go and
So I
set up.
think you could find other avenues, like you said, like some kind of job service, statewide classifieds, whatever different, there's an online, especially for the construction-based jobs or something, I mean, I think.
Job service, I know John is listed on there.
User. Okay. We'll look into advertising more places.
We should check into getting it, a little wider than just the tri-county area kind of deal, and we should probably at least try to get it statewide, if not maybe regional or something, upper Midwest or something. I don't know of any, but I'm sure there are some. Should check into it, probably broaden the horizons a little bit.
Okay, I guess we can start with that handout. That is a bid proposal for, the advertising for bids for those cement stabilization projects that we'll put together. So you guys wanna go ahead and advertise for bidding those out. Four spots, and that's just as, engineer estimate. And I believe we talked to Mike with Wolf, the completion date would be like November 1st. Give us the window of time to advertise, come back, bring the bids back to the board. And that doesn't mean if we don't get a bid or we think it's way higher than it could, we don't have to accept it. But I think it's something we should get out, at least start, get a bid, see what the numbers come back with.
247,100 would be all four sites.
Correct.
And that would be the St. Michael's Church.
Correct.
The one close to Randy Weigel's, the corner back
Yeah,
there.
19th and 16th.
What are the other two sites against?
Well, there's two by Randy White, like 19th and
65th.
65th.
What about the one by Strasburg, by the elevators to the north?
That one we haven't done yet, like wasn't in this bid package. And then it'd be St. Michael's, Randy Weigel's, 2, and then it'd be 17th Avenue up there, north of Braddock.
Okay, all right, so yeah, so it's Randy Weigel's site, and then the other one is way up there by Carlson's, the Carlson Slough or whatever on 7th, right up on the county line.
Those are the people.
Yep. And that water has went down their driveways now.
Well, it's dry as it's been, the only fortunate part with that, I guess. Yeah, well, I mean, every one of them sites could definitely, and St. Michael's Church especially needs to get hardened up or something. That's been a problem every year.
Yeah.
Every Band-Aid we put on it, it works for a little while, and then you're back to rock and gravel.
And if this works like they say it's supposed to and stuff, then yes, we'll broaden on the horizon and do more like those ones by Strasburg, the elevator, because that's a lot of traffic up there.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see if this works the way we want to before we go too far, right?
Yeah. Those are the ones we get the calls on the most.
Yeah.
So this will be bidded out?
Correct.
And you'd want to do that soon, I'm guessing, so you can get it done this fall.
Right. I guess I'm just looking for your approval to advertise for bids.
Where would this 247,000 come out of? Probably, is there like a line item under road district yet, or?
Yeah, we still have a little money left in the road district and then the federal aid. That one on 17th Avenue would be federal aid.
Okay, so that would go under that different fund there, so.
Yeah. I believe we have the money right now to do this. If it comes in at that price, obviously, if it comes in way more then we wouldn't be able to do it.
Right, this is just an engineer's estimate, you got bids yet, so.
Correct.
'Cause yeah, I mean, it looks to me like you have, you got unexpended funds in road district and county road and bridge. Okay. Well, like I said, there's no harm in at least going out and seeking bids for it either. If it doesn't work out, you don't have to spend the money, but at least should continue on, because I think the St. Michael's Road and Randy Weigel's Road and the Carlson Road, I've gotten plenty of calls on all of them, but the other one I'm not familiar with. I guess you got one at the St. Michael's and there's one.
The one on the Randy White, was it just on the east side and south?
It would be.
Towards his son's place?
Yes, it's that intersection right there at Ragner's, where you go to Stevens or you can go to Ragner's, and that intersection's over.
Is there a culvert there?
There's a couple culverts.
Yep.
On that road.
Problem is that's one of them low drainage areas, so on a wet year, water sits there, then that road absorbs. It's kinda like St. Michael's, it's another one of these low spots that, on a dry year, it's fine, on a wet year, it's a nightmare. And right now, it's probably fine, but this spring, it was horrible. It kinda did the same deal as St. Michael's. It hardens up for a while, and everybody forgets about it, and then next spring, you're getting phone calls again. It's something probably needs to get done.
Well, that's the other thing, I guess if you're gonna do it, you'd rather get it done this winter yet before winter.
Right, I mean, we got the weather on our side right now as far as dryness, so.
And there'll be a little bit of work if we do go ahead with these, that the county will have to do, like one of the culverts will have to, we'd have to put a little bit more over the top of it, because they know that, or they grind this in about a foot. So there was a couple concerns that Mike had, or from Wold had, so.
Well,
I think it's all doable.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and get bids to see where we're sitting.
Okay, Commissioner Holm makes a motion to seek bids on the 4 sites for cement stabilization.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Materi. Is there any more discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion approved. So, yeah, I guess seek some bids and see if we can. That would be nice to get them 4 spots done this year. I think that would be a huge boost to everything we're trying to be done, so. And it looks like there's money enough between county road and bridge and road district and federal aid, we could probably make it work, so.
Chunk of that's gonna come out now after the gravel project, so.
Well, right, but I mean.
There's still some money
Right, but I
that we
mean,
can-
if you split it between the 3 funds, it's probably enough to make it work, so.
If they come in roughly with that.
Alright, well, I'll tell you what, if we'd fix them 4 spots, I'll starve a budget out for the rest of the year. I'm talking, remember 4 big spots, or, 3 for sure, I know, are pretty big, so, okay.
Correct. Other than that, just the update, we gravelled for 2 weeks on the southwest part of the county, so we hauled quite a bit of gravel. We didn't get everything that's on the highlighted map, but we got a good portion of it.
How many loads have we hauled?
Oh, we just got the final totals, I guess I didn't, we're close to like 900. Something like that, I mean, I can get you a grand total.
That's equally kind of divided amongst both pits, correct?
We took more out of the Van Force pit than we did the Knoll pit.
And they had a lot more gravel in that pit too, so.
Yeah, correct, and that's what we were gearing for, and then the last 2 days, we didn't haul out of the Knoll pit, we sent all the trucks over to the Van Force.
I'd imagine that lease probably only has about 5 or 6 years left on it too, so. I mean,
On the
that's why
Van Force
it's good to get the pile down a little bit, and, I mean, if we want to renew the lease, fine, but if it doesn't get renewed, not that we have 100,000 there.
Big difference in gravel according to the guy that was loading.
Yeah.
South end versus the north end.
Yes.
pit. That pile,
Yeah.
Oh, on the same pile or the difference
Same
between the
pile.
Knoll pit? Oh.
same pile. The north side, he said, there's no comparison for quality versus the south side.
Well, we had issues there right away.
Well, the problem, we did have one, and they gave us a discount on that because they couldn't meet the class
Strange.
13 spec on it, they couldn't find enough clay, and
Right.
we were running into enough issues with that, it was more of it was a strong class 5 maybe, a little heavier than a class 5, but it's lighter material, that's part of the reason why we haven't been using it as much either, but at some point it's better than mud. So
The south side is good, he said, the way it looked.
the paint falls and how it's washing some of the fines down the pile, even though it's been there for,
Both piles, but
right, because it's been crushing. That was the first year I was commissioner when we crushed the pile, so. So, I mean, that's been there for a while, so you're gonna start getting some washing, kinda like the old block, it's up there for a while, you leave it up there long enough, your fines wash to the bottom of the pile, and that's why it's good to have a stockpile, but you don't wanna let these piles get too old sometimes, so.
are you still running with the gravel trucks on it too?
We will be again, yeah, there's some maintenance issues that we've gotta take care of quick, and yeah, we'll be still running with our two as long as we have the help, I guess. That's
I
okay.
haven't heard anything down there really, so no news is good news, I'm assuming. So.
There's a lot of people, I got feedback on the people pleased with what's going on.
I mean, I did get one compliment, but like I said, I haven't seen a lot of people down there, but nobody called me or anything either, but.
Well, it was duly, I mean, it was needed, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not,
that area was bad.
I mean, it's been one of the more neglected areas in the county.
Do you know where Richard Seymour lives down there? He had called and something, Rick Seymour, Richard Seymour.
He's right down by the State Line Resort, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he said something about, there's part of a road there, they were graveling down there and he was wondering if they could put some on the other road or whatever, so. I can give you his number, or I can give him your number too.
Yeah, it's best to just have him, give him my number now. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of roads that probably they see gravel on now and they're wondering why we didn't get those, and I mean, we just ran out of time, and
We can follow up with our own trucks, which was
for the small stuff, hopefully we can keep hammering it out, and there's some other small stuff that we want to attack yet down there, so.
So how many days did they run and what did it cost?
They ran 10 days. Cost us, the bills in here, it's a little over $178,000.
100 and what?
Yep. $178,000.
78,000.
Okay, sure.
I figured it'd be close to 200, you gotta stay under that.
Yeah, we were shooting for. I mean, obviously it could have been a little bit higher due to, I mean, there's a few trucks that broke down when you're running that many trucks. They don't get the full hours in, but.
Overall, were you pretty pleased?
Overall, yeah, I think we worked well together, and I think we did pretty good. I mean, there's a few things that we probably could have did better, and there's a few things that they could have done better, and I plan on having a meeting with them. Like, I know he called me this morning, just to see, so there's, I mean, hopefully we can build this relationship back up, or build a relationship and keep moving forward, so. But yeah, I think they.
It was a plus, part
I
of it, right?
was pleasantly surprised on how it turned out, so.
Well, it's what we've been talking about for the last couple of years even was, I mean, 2 weeks is a nice little number. You got a lot, I mean, you got somewhere in the neighborhood of 900 to 1,000 loads of gravel down. I mean, that's loads that we weren't getting done for years, you know, and that's what needed to be done. So I think, like I said, when it comes to a project like that, I got almost no calls, so I assume it went great. That's just, no news is good news on something like that. And I did get thanked personally by Jim and Deb Vandervoort, to see them at the chiropractor, so. They said everything turned out good, so that's where, and I know.
Stevie Heisey was satisfied.
Well, I tell you what, as bad as the roads were this spring, it had to have been an improvement no matter how it went, but I heard nothing but good things, but I didn't hear a lot, so, like I said.
Vanderwall's called it plus.
Good.
So it's a plus what happened.
Yep. Well, and I think now you probably got a little bit of a, kind of a model of how you want to do things. You know, you see things that worked good, things that didn't work good. Hopefully next year, or, you know, going forward, you know, maybe not every year, but we can start putting a plan where, you know, try and get at least somebody in here to help, you know, just so that, I mean, because one thing about it is spending money on trailers and trucks and everything's not feasible, because you got to fill them with guys too. That sometimes it's easier to just cut a check and have someone come in. They're coming in for a specific job. They come in and do it for a week or two. You pay them and you go on your business sometimes. That's, I mean, we got more done in 2 weeks now than we probably gravelled in the last 10 years, honestly. It's, and I think that was a huge plus, and I think it was kind of a proof of concept in a way. Just every year try and make it better, more efficient, you know, cost effective, whatever, you know. So I think it was good. The one thing that is on the agenda that we should just talk about to make sure is that culvert replacement with, you know, we're doing that joint deal with Campbell County. So
did we ever get a contract from Campbell County? Did you ever talk to Terry, Matt?
So I talked to Terry, I called him, and so he got a quote from Russ Lawler to replace the culvert. It was $23,000. It was about half and half of labor, and the culvert was as much as the labor. He doesn't have the go-ahead from his commissioners until Thursday. So what he wanted was just kind of a commitment that we were gonna be in on it, and then they were gonna commit to it, and then he was gonna at least order the culvert, and then I'm guessing we'll have a proposal contract type thing after we approve it, and they do release that we're participating, so.
What did they ever decide, what size culvert, what length?
A 6-foot culvert, and it's gonna be, the old one was 40 foot, and they're gonna do a 60 or 70, or they're doing it, what they wanna do, the idea is they wanna widen that space out where the culvert is, so it's not a straight drop off at the edge of the culvert, so.
I thought they were talking 80 feet.
Maybe it was 80, yeah, I know it was a 60 and they wanna do 80, or it was a 40 and they wanna do 60, but that's where.
There's another spot, you've probably seen west, right from that culvert area. There's another watershed area, maybe a 16th of a mile from that, where there's a culvert that goes through there also. Did you see it?
I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, I walked it, there's another culvert. And right along the ditch on the north side of that cut, it will come to this main culvert and go through. And I did talk to Harvey Meyer, he said, I don't know where 6-foot culvert is gonna be at, but on the watershed.
Well, I just know that,
What was in there?
a 6-footer.
It's pretty big. I mean,
Yeah, they're putting the same culvert in, they're just doing, it's 20 feet longer, but it's the same size culvert.
Is what was in there?
Yeah. Which the thinking of that is that culvert's probably 70 years old, and it's been there all them years, so it's probably big enough, so. I guess I had a hard time arguing with that since it was in.
Yeah, the guy doesn't go.
It burned out before it blew out, so I would say it must have handled the water coming through there, or at least if it did back water up, it was probably only temporary, so. I mean, with the wooded draw the way it is, it doesn't look like there's some major flows coming through there, it seems like. I mean, it's probably more consistent, otherwise there wouldn't be much for tree growth through there probably, but I don't know, like I said, Terry took the lead on it, and he seemed pretty confident with the plan they had. And at 23,000, I don't feel like that's out of line for a quote, even if there's a couple thousand down the road, you know, let's just call it 25,000. I would have thought 20 to 30,000 was in the range, so for a big culvert like that, I know the estimation times is gonna take a week to 10 days to do the work, so it's a project, so.
I'm all for it to get it done.
Well, that's where, like what Terry said, he goes, once he gets a commitment from his commissioners that he was gonna order the culvert, and then I think after that, he'll have a finalized culvert number, he'll have Russell's number, and we can get something up here that we can sign and notarize and participate with it, so. He just wanted to at least have a verbal go-ahead, so that way when he went to his commissioners on Thursday, we're not still thinking about it or half in, half out, which I think at that price, I don't really see a problem. So I guess my suggestion was if we wanted to do it in a motion, make it official, just do an motion that we'll do a 50-50 cost share up to $25,000. That way we kind of have like we got a little bit of a limit. If it comes in more than that, we can renegotiate, not that we're like on the hook for an endless number.
Right.
Which I don't think will happen. I mean, Terry's pretty straightforward, you know us, so I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I'm anticipating it maybe being a little more, because once you get into it, you might be a little rock or two, you never know, so.
And just for the contractor himself, so he can kind of plan it in.
Well, exactly, if they wanna line up and get someone in there and they wanna get the culvert coming, they need a commitment, and I don't see why we wouldn't, so.
Yeah, I have no problems with it. You guys wanna make a motion?
Well, I think I would guess I'd entertain a motion to go to a 50-50 cost share with Campbell County for up to $25,000 to replace.
On our side, or a total of 25?
Well, a total of 25 with a 50-50 cost share. The estimate for the total was 23,000, so we'd be looking at about
Right.
11.5, 12, yeah, so that's why I said even if it goes up to 25, I think it'd be fair, so.
I'd make a motion to entertain that.
Okay.
That we want a 50-50 cost share with Campbell County and get the project moving and get it done.
Commissioner Materi makes the motion to enter in a 50-50 cost share with Campbell County on the specific culvert, and up to a total of $25,000 total project.
Within the motion, I'd like that contract that he was gonna get from an attorney, the state's attorney down in Campbell County, to submit to us so that there's something of record.
Sure, yeah, right, and then.
He said he doesn't want nothing hidden, so nobody's.
Yeah, no, like I said.
It's all part, do it.
With my conversation with Terry was that once his commissioners finalized it, we were probably gonna see an actual proposal that he'd sign in return, so I'm anticipating that next week probably.
Okay.
So yeah, so in that motion also, go back to the, signed.
It'll be sick.
Signed and notarized contract there. Is there a second to that motion? Seconded by Commissioner Holm. You kind of have that. Okay, kind of dissected it a little bit. Okay, so for the sake of discussion, Commissioner Materi made a motion, Commissioner Holm seconded, to enter a 50-50 cost share of Campbell County to replace the 6-foot culvert with the total being the total limit being 25,000 on the project, and also having a signed agreement before the project starts. So motion second, for any more discussion? Not hearing any, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion approved.
The utility permits, I think,
okay.
The only thing I got a call from Dave Tardowski yet too. Want to know how that road project is gonna come over there.
It's not happening this week.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if we're gonna build it. Did Wold ever come up with any kind of a final conclusion or any kind of a layout that worked? Because I know there was so many issues with the utilities and stuff, and then some
I know, we kind of put it on the back burner to talk about it, because then when you go into design a huge road like that, it gets really expensive from the engineering standpoint, so like, it's probably like $15,000 just to design it, 10 to 15 for them to design it, so. There's some right of way, like remember there was some center line corners or right of way corners that went all the way to the Supreme Court, then Supreme Court ruled on one of them, so that's the one that everybody's gonna go off with that one.
Do you think Wold would come down next month and just kind of give us even just a rundown of some ideas, or like, it's like an actual design, or at least where they're at, and some options or anything, just kind of give us some guidance on it, so we don't just keep kicking it down the road. Like, we're either gonna have to come up with a decision that we're never gonna do it, we're gonna do something, and I really don't know what that avenue is. Because every time we've dug into it, it's about the third time since I've been commissioner, we run into the same roadblocks, which is a huge power line, an irrigation line, right-of-way issues that have gone all the way to the Supreme Court, which all tell me that building a road there is gonna be a nightmare. So I would just like someone like Mike or Vinny or somebody to come in and just go, it's not feasible, or this is something you could do, or this is the only way to do it, and it's gonna cost 20,000 to even find out, and we can make a decision.
Okay, I will contact.
Every time it always comes to this point, we're like, well, then it goes to next month, or it goes into next year, and Dave's gotta come in, and we don't have an answer for him, so we either need to just make the decision, we're not gonna do something, or we're gonna do something. So I'd like them to just tell us if it's even possible, and if it is, what is possible, and if that is, what it would cost, so we can at least try it.
If Mike's coming down, it'd probably be good to have Dave in here too. He wants to come in.
Yeah, either way, I mean, if Dave wants to come in, you know, like, I guess if you've been talking to him, you can sure invite him, but I'd make sure Wold's coming down first, and I think we could have a constructive conversation from it and go from there. Just, we either gotta do something or nothing, instead of just talking about it, so.
I will contact Mike to.
Okay, see if he can come up with some proposal or something.
Skyler, Terry Capper, getting over here.
Correct, I called him.
All was good.
Yep, all good.
So I talked to him last night, also, so that
Yeah, cause it's just adding into an existing approach, no culvert, no nothing like that, it's just widening
Just
it.
widening it.
I told him 40 feet's our maximum.
Who's that?
He's like, he'd stay under that, so, yeah. I didn't have a problem with that.
You also you had Wold look into that bridge on Main Avenue west of Hazelton.
Correct, they just said to monitor right now for spring and fall, just keep an eye on it. They don't see anything that we need to shut it down right now. It's gonna be in our plan to probably replace it in the next year or two, but I don't know.
And that's just like a small box.
Yeah, it's like a small box, or it's like a bridge with, I guess it's a box culvert with a bridge top on it. They
Yeah,
just got concrete walls and then a bridge top, like a wood bridge, wooden I-beam bridge top.
it's kind of like a guardrail there and stuff
Yeah.
too, right? And so
Kind of something they put in years and years and years.
if we were to replace it, whenever that would be, we'd probably do just like a typical box with no guardrail and stuff though.
Either a typical box culvert or just regular steel culvert, big enough.
Okay.
They had, like he did a water analysis.
That's what they did down in Westfield there, that one by.
Well, because I know that part of the issue with this is that now that equipment's bigger, this guardrail is like 2 foot tall. It's just annoying enough that it's hard to get stuff across. And so if we did replace it, it'd be nice to go, even if we had to widen the road or something, just get a
Big culvert.
no obstructions, whether, like you said, small box, big steel culverts, whatever makes the most sense, and just have it so that you can get some of this big stuff across it, because that's the concern with it. Okay, so there's no
immediate need to shut it down.
No, okay.
It's getting towards its end of life expectancy.
I just for some reference, I had a couple of people ask me about it, because they were concerned with the age of the bridge and they're driving equipment over it. And so I mentioned it to John and Skylar, because I thought it was on the bridge inspection list, which it wasn't, because it's not a bridge, it's a modified bridge. So then we had Wold come down and just get some, they didn't see anything serious, but like Skylar said, it's something that down the road, you can either wait till it falls in or probably just fix it anyway. Culverts would be awesome, that's probably even the reasonable way to do it, so.
Is that gonna be an issue now that the west of this East Hall on the south side by that culvert, that tall Kenny Newsman? On what the hell was that? Was it some land that they opened that trench up where it was silted in? That waterway, did you see that?
No, I
Did he
guess,
speak to that?
not that, who Kenny Newsman?
Yeah, tall Kenny.
Not that I recall,
He said, "Oh,
not that I recall.
Are you talking south of Federal?
it's on the south side of the Federal.
Cause I thought Francis had put some culverts in there a couple of
Yeah,
years
it's a totally different.
Oh, that's a different
Totally,
spot,
it's a
okay.
cement box culvert there.
On 96th?
So I know you see it's
Well, the Federal
east out of Hall.
Yeah.
East out of Hall, the Federal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's maybe a quarter mile east, half a mile. Take a look at that when they went through that field. It was a holler.
It's on the Federal Aid Road.
No, we had someone look at that.
Yeah, Nick, wasn't there a bunch of shrubs and stuff, trees growing down
They
there?
kinda dredged it out one.
It was just silted in over the years.
Yeah.
And I thought he said he had talked to the water board
Yeah, that was years ago.
Well, that was a couple of years ago, because I had gone out there and looked at it with Francis, and then, but the issue with that, since it's a federal aid road, there's an issue with moving dirt. Nick went through it, I think, once, like right after they put it in, it happened, but then he wasn't supposed to do what he did.
Yeah, they tore shrubs and trees out.
Trees and shrubs are not.
Well, maybe not anymore.
Right, but that, I know there's some issue with it being a federal aid road and like the right of way, and, cause I remember Francis looking into it, but that was the year we were fixing all the roads all over the place, we never did anything. I'm sure that's what you're talking about, cause it kinda holds water back on the other side, right? Right, and there, you can't just go in there with an excavator and dredge it out like a typical right of way, cause it's federal aid, and there's a whole process, and then I think they told us no when we asked or something. I vaguely remembered it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I remember Kenny said something about that one.
Yep.
Yep.
That would be.
That it is, yep.
Yeah, as of now, I do not recall,
And then,
They talk.
not that I can,
that north side, it holds water to the north because it silts in on that.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's an issue with the federal aid side, with the federal government and part of the whole contract, like there's a process, you can't just go in and clean it out like if it was just on our regular county rate. So that's,
Well, there was a dam back there too that, Rick Van Beek had that broke up, remember
Yeah,
that?
that's on the south side of my land, to the south half.
yeah, and that's the one
That
where
would
the
be to
water
the
went,
west.
yeah, the water went down.
West and north.
By where
You know where
Dyke was,
Steve Hutchins is at?
yeah.
West of Westfield,
a little bit,
on the north side of Neat Farm.
Yep.
Just straight north of there, a mile, probably a mile and a half, is where that dam would go. That's when we had that 7 inches of rain or 8 inches of rain.
yeah, I'm sure it's probably something to do with a designated wetland area.
There was an issue, I know there was, it was something specific, and by the time we got into it, they basically told us the way we wanted to do it was no, and the way they wanted it done, it couldn't be done that year, and it just kinda went over, because we had a million culverts to do anyway, because Francis was doing a culvert straight to the south almost at that time, a bigger one, and then that's when they thought we were gonna work on that too, and then when we asked, I'm assuming we went through like Schaefer or Mike Ravinius through either Bartlett or West or Wolf, they looked into it and said no, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not saying it can't be done, but there's a process, that's all I'm saying, it just, when we looked into it one time, it's not very simple.
What ended up on that state property we bought, how big of a repair bill did we end up with that? On that,
To be determined yet.
Still
in
being
the
worked
shop.
on?
Well, they were waiting for parts.
What is the problem?
It had a bad differential in it.
Okay.
With a few other little things, but they, it should be done this week. So, they were waiting for parts, is what their biggest thing is. And actually, they, still are gonna have a part that they can't get, but it'll be operational. But they can't even find a manufacturer that's making that part right now. I mean, there's, not that the truck's obsolete, it's just, you know how today's society is, just.
Cause that's what, is that an international truck? The day when you can't find parts for an international truck, right?
It's not good.
It's not. Okay. So these utility permits, you checked them out?
Yeah, they're good.
Everything's kosher?
Yeah, they're just poured underneath the road. So,
Okay.
no issues with the county.
So who else y'all got working on out there? John T comes in once in a while.
John T, Terry Ibach, Dennis Holm, Ryan Holm.
They're working yet too?
Yeah.
Are they running blades too, or just truck?
No, they were driving truck and loading truck, Dennis and Ryan, just, JT and Terry are blading.
Will they step into a blade? Will Dennis step into a blade or no?
I could ask him when we were caught up with the other stuff, but now he's gonna go back to gravel and a few other things, and then eventually he's gotta go to do his farming.
Yeah. How about his son? Has he got another job, or what's
He's
he
working
doing?
with soccer and all that. I don't know how full-time that is, I have no idea.
I don't know.
See,
This pays better.
Do you have a plan, or are you planning on graveling some on that 3rd Avenue leading up to Dennis's and then heading to the west, kind of towards Tommy Wagner's farm and the Van Beek farm?
Up that hill?
So that would be off of 89th? it's that Third Avenue and then goes south, right to Dennis's place,
Yeah,
like where Boots was pushing snow against the trees, that meant all the.
yeah, we were gonna try to get that
Okay.
with
Well,
the contractors, but we didn't quite.
Right,
But
but
then
I
we got
mean-
92nd done all
Sure.
the way through past Dennis's, Tommy Wagner's, and then up Main a little bit. We got a couple loads on Main.
Did you get it to the west where you go to the dead end from Van Beek and Wagner? Then you can go north or south, but all the traffic goes north. And then-
Yeah, that Main.
That would be Main
that'd be
Avenue, yeah, that'd be
Main. I don't think the Main doesn't go south. I mean, there's like a prairie trail or a section
The
like.
main road
Yeah, I
goes
guess
north
it's
back.
but it's
to-
not-
Yeah, but it's not, we don't maintain it, no. Yeah, we went north, like, I think they got a couple loads on it, and then,
That's tough, that's, you see
Right.
much freight all out of it.
And that, I think that's 92nd on that one, you got gravel on that one then?
past Dennis's and Tommy Wagner's.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's,
I wrote that, yeah.
Okay.
and that one we were working on before the contractors, so that one should be.
Well, that's what I mean even just through the summer here, I know that Third Avenue leading that way was pretty tough too, that where 92nd connects to the federal aid.
Yep.
Did you go to the dam?
That's the one.
That's Third Avenue.
Third Avenue, yeah, that good.
It's still on our, hopefully we can get some gravel on it, but that, it was on our hit list, but.
It's not horrible, but there's some
We
bad
just didn't get
spots,
to it.
right? There's like the hilltops are tough and then, I mean, it's not all bad, but it definitely could use some spot gravel.
Did you get by that one past Tony Turner's? Down in that low area when you come off the Federal Aid Road to the north, coming from my area on the south side of the Federal Aid Road.
Oh, on 7th, or not, is it 9th?
Yeah, that
Was
was,
that ninth? That might, no, that'd be,
7th.
that'd be
I'm on
seven.
ninth.
That's seven.
Yeah,
That'd
7th.
be seven.
Yeah.
They dumped a few loads on there, but there's a culvert in there that we're gonna fix too, so.
In that low area.
I believe that there's somewhere in that vicinity. I would assume in the low area, but, yeah, that's,
Because that's a tough area for the water coming through.
So where else in the county you're gonna gravel it? I mean,
Wherever they say.
wherever we can go. I mean, we're gonna,
Everywhere there's a road.
yeah, I mean, it's,
It's a never ending deal,
Right.
Mark.
it is.
I know it, I wanted to bring that up because I know that was the road I was on not long ago and that third, dam road, it's got a lot of good spots, it's not horrible, but the bad spots are bad, like
Yeah,
it just.
I mean, down by the river, coming out of that hill, they want
Yes.
that done, the Jokum, his hilltops,
That's tough.
tough, like that one we're gonna try to tackle this week yet, because it's.
Well, I think,
There by Bauman's, there's a tough one right
Yeah,
those trees.
87,
that-
right on
I
that
drove
87,
last
yeah,
week.
I mean, they're all marked, we're just
And I seen your flag set, look, listen, they're gonna gravel this.
trying to get to them.
well, no, that's good.
And I just, that's all, I just.
As long as you're aware,
Just
yeah.
keep the trucks moving.
Yeah,
all
we're
over gravel.
Did you ever talk to Stain out here?
They're on that,
Yeah.
yeah, actually I
Oh,
talked
did
to
you?
them,
Okay.
yep, actually we met yesterday with them.
Okay,
And they're gonna give me a price on
Putting some drain tile in that.
putting in 2 extra runs in, and then we'll actually bring it across the road, like put it on both sides. And then we'll trench through the road, like the county will, just digging the pipe in for them.
That's the right way to do it.
And that way we get it done how we want it. Not saying they wouldn't do it how we want it, but
But then, yeah.
Well, it's your right of way, I think
Yeah,
you should go through the road, right?
yeah, it's through our road, and they don't have to get a permit or anything like that, and then we do it. So they're gonna get a price, hopefully that, they kinda gave me a rough number, and it didn't seem so bad, so if it comes in roughly what they said, it will, but we're just gonna do it. And then, we're gonna try to get out there and fix that really bad spot in the road.
Well, I mean, if you would get that drain tile done and this concrete stabilization comes in, you know, close to the engineer's estimate, and we can do that, plus the gravel when you're done, I mean, that's a pretty good dent in a lot of these issues, so.
Well, like I talked to Daryl yesterday a little bit about, they've dug this wet spot once before, or 2 times before. We've gotta try to get away from the rework.
Yeah.
We can't keep going back to this.
Well, it's the same with St. Michael's, it's the same
Yeah.
with the Carlson Slough, it's every 10, 12 years you're doing some small Band-Aid rip wrap. It just doesn't last. I think like this, if this concrete stabilization idea goes and it works out, that could be huge for us in some of these low spots.
Yeah.
Too much time wasted, like you say, going back to Band-Aids.
Well, like I
You
said,
can't move forward.
it sounds like a lot of money with some of these things, but when you do things 5 times over 10, 15 years, that's expensive too, not to mention it's a timing thing, you just don't get it done, you just, some of these things.
Look at the cheap way to do
Well, it'd just be nice to have it be done, like just, but I just wanna tell you, I think you're doing a good job just keeping up with some of these things, and if these things go through here by fall, I mean, those are a lot of big projects that we've had issues with, so. and-
Hopefully we can
Yeah.
get them completed. And, I mean,
Well-
The thing is, with cement, if we do it by November, we'll have to just get gravel on it, but they want 4 inches over the top.
Sure, well,
I believe it's doable with our manpower if we need to, or I can find a contractor to come in for a day or something like that, just to help out, so.
I guess just one other thing that got brought up today, just to finish off, is I don't have any problem with working out some kind of temporary deal with somebody down in Cattail, at least just for the short term, I mean, until we can fill.
Well, look, I'm gonna talk to him, but like I said, I got his number right before we were doing this, and I wasn't gonna call him and tell him to come in and.
Well, I just wanted to tell you, I just think that, I think we're all kind of in agreement, if you work out something with anybody, or just, I think, especially now, cause that road's gonna be getting used a lot more in about another month or 2 here, cause potato harvest is gonna be tough too, so I think if you can get someone even for the short term, just for the rest of the summer or something, whatever you think works out with you guys too, I mean, it's gotta work out for us too, but if you can make something work with one of these guys that mentioned that.
Can I say one thing? Has it ever been, over the years, have you ever confronted or talked to CU Farms? If they bring a blade of their own over there and blade that road to the blacktop, has that ever been a cost share with us?
I asked them, and I think the main issue with Seaview is, and the one thing that they've always brought up is they admit that they use the road a lot, but there is some truth that there's a lot